All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys are all having a good day today. I just need to check a few things with for a class here, and then we can get started. We're going to be doing the exact same thing that we did yesterday as far as custom class setups go for Black Ops 3. So we should be hopping into that pretty shortly. I'm hoping that YouTube tweeted everything out correctly, because as you guys know, sometimes that doesn't always work out, but we shall see. Hopefully you guys all got the notification. I'm probably going to be playing solos here right off the bat, and I know there's already some people who are joining my session here, and I'll definitely be playing with you guys sometime soon. I'm just not exactly sure when that's going to happen, but I'll be sure to hit you guys up and play with you guys whenever that does happen. What's going on, ADG? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Justin? You Waste. I'm the God. Welcome to the stream today, guys. Hopefully you're all having an awesome day so far. Give me a quick second, guys. What's going on, Xerix? How you doing, Justin? What's going on, Baba Ops? Welcome, man.
Yahoo!
Actually, no, I didn't do 1.5 or 2.5. No worries. Alright, sorry about that, guys. What's going on, Xerix, Justin, Baba Ops, the guy AG? How you guys all doing today? Welcome to the stream. Sorry for that brief delay. So today we're going to be doing some more Black Ops 3. Hey, Picky, I appreciate the host, man. Thank you for the support. What's up? It's Nathan. Welcome to the stream today, man. So I found a better way to sort of streamline the whole class setup process for you guys, or at least for myself. You guys are still going to be submitting everything the same way, but it's a lot easier for me now to read all of these class setups. So I'm going to be doing class number 44 here. I don't know who suggested it, but I'll give the person a quick shout out here in just a second. Quick draw, grip, and rapid fire. And then let's see what else they got in here. Sixth Sense, Tracker Scavenger, Scavenger, which we don't have, and Blast Suppressors. We'll just throw on what we've got, obviously, and then as we continue to level up, maybe we'll be able to use some of that stuff soon. We got a frag and a concussion, and then we have UAV hater wraps, which unfortunately we still don't have the hater. I believe it's level, what is it, level 48? We're not going to hit that today. So UAV, if it's UAV hater wraps, we'll throw on UAV, counter UAV, and wraps, and we'll see how that fares us. Hopefully we'll still be able to do pretty well. And then we got the Purifier for our specialist. Let me go all the way. Oh no, we don't even have the specialist unlocked either. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll still be able to do pretty well though, and we'll still have fun experimenting with your guys' class setups. Let me go ahead and lower that. Come back to the chat here. What's going on, Victor? How you doing today, man? What's going on, Beast John? Hennis, are you hyped for Sabotage? I'm actually pretty excited for it, man. Yeah, I'm hoping it's gonna be pretty good. Thank you, I Bear, for hosting the stream. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your support. Okay, first class Man of War Elo quick draw. No, I'm the God. If you guys want to submit a class, type !class in the chat. It'll give you guys a link for the Google form, and you can submit classes that way. Because I'm reading it all off of like a form, so it just makes it a little bit easier and a little bit more streamlined for me to read it. I'm definitely hyped for Sabotage Baba Ops. I'm going to be streaming that tomorrow. It should be pretty good. What's up? It's Nathan and Visual Gamer and Kieran Lamb. Welcome to the stream, guys. I don't know why we can't find a lobby right now. I would have thought that the Chaos Mosh Pit lobbies would be packed, but unfortunately not. We may have to... Ooh, oh no, I think we were just about to find a lobby just as soon as I backed out right there. We'll give it a few seconds here, and hopefully we'll be able to join something. So as always with every stream, guys, let me know if the music's too loud or too quiet or anything like that. We're hopping into domination on Nuketown right off the bat. You guys already know. It's my favorite game mode and map combo in the world. Yo, One Grind, thank you for the host, man. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much, dude. Alright. Hopefully we'll be able to do well here. I'm hoping we'll be able to drop some dirty streaks. That's what I'm hoping. I at least want to drop one set of wraps. If we don't at least drop one set of wraps, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. ADG, the stream sounds good? Awesome, man. Good to hear. Good to hear that, man. Yahoo! And you Waste, thank you for hosting the stream as well, man. I appreciate it. You guys. A lot of you guys are hosting the stream right now. It means a lot. Thank you. If any of you guys are watching on Twitch and you want to know how to host, go over to my Twitch channel if you're watching on YouTube and type !host in the chat. No, why do you have to stream during school? I'm sorry, Deltus. I'm sorry, man. This is just the easiest time for me to stream. I'm probably going to be live for like an hour and a half or so, though, man. What's going on, Aiden? How you doing today, man? Aiden Siegel. What's my highest amount of kills in BO3 Dom? Ooh. I don't know. It's a good question. I think it's solo, because I usually do solo gameplays. I haven't really done any like party gameplays or anything like that, like trying to go for really high kill gameplays like that. Solo gameplays, strictly solo, like 150 kills, I think.
Securing C. C locked down.
Alright, this class doesn't have fast mag on it, but hopefully we'll still be able to do okay with it. But you guys know fast mag is kind of almost a necessity for me sometimes. I'm hoping that guy doesn't challenge me. So far, we Gucci. Over here. Ooh, we just got really lucky. Holy crap. They're definitely going to be pushing for me now. And of course, they came up from behind, man. Nothing we can do there. What's going on, Saheen? How you doing today? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Vision? How you doing today? Do I play older CODs, Victor? To be honest with you, man, when I'm here at college, the only console that I have is a PS4 to play on. And I do have a lot of the PC Call of Duties, but unfortunately, it's hard for me to stream those games and play them on the same laptop, because that's all I have here at college. I only have one laptop. So, unfortunately, I'm really only going to be limited to Call of Duties that are available on the next-gen consoles, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. Class submitted? I appreciate that. I'm the god. Appreciate it, man. Came from behind. It's Nathan. Are you going to do the rest of the classes from last stream, or are you starting fresh? I'm doing the rest of the classes from last stream, man. So what I'm doing, just to make it a little bit easier, is I'm kind of just choosing them at random. So I'm just going through randomly and choosing classes. We've got 70 submissions. So that's a lot of submissions. So I'm just going to go through and randomly pick different ones. So I'm not just, you know, going back and picking ones that were submitted like really early yesterday, you know? I just feel like that'll be a little bit better. Really glad that guy didn't shoot me. I feel like I just got tagged with something. This guy's gonna be coming for me. He has to be, right? Oh, we just got really lucky. Nope, 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 nope. They've got a teammate just camping in the corner right at the top of the enemy spawn here. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. What's going on, Hamza? How you doing today? What's going on, Colby? Welcome to the stream today, man. Oh my god. That was too close for comfort. Way too close for comfort. I'll be back in a bit, going to finish watching PewDiePie's video. Alright, brother. Sounds good, man. No, oh, dude. Of course that guy was just chilling right there. Yo, what's up, Hobie? Welcome to the stream, man. I know this time that I'm streaming at right now isn't, like, entirely opportune for those of you who, like, go to school and stuff, but it's just the easiest time for me that I can stream throughout the day. Damn. Yo, what's going on, DJ? How you doing today, man? How come you're not playing Infinite Warfare or Remastered? I'm going to be playing Call of Duty Infinite Warfare tomorrow. Just simply because the DLC is going to drop tomorrow. So I really wanted to finish getting these like class setups for you guys and finish playing with them, so hopefully it'll be pretty good. Hennis, I love your gameplays. Thanks, Spectre. I appreciate that, man. What's going on, Devil Boy and It's Carnage? How you doing today? Loving the stream. Yo, thank you, Aiden. I appreciate it, man. Any streams from you are good, man. No worries. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
They're done.
So far, we're doing pretty good here with this class setup as well. Ah, damn. These guys are good. Uways recommended me to come to your stream. Hey, thank you, Uways, and thank you, Hamza. I appreciate you checking me out, man. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself so far. What's going on, Mads Rattle? How you doing today, man? James McKeever, keep up the hard work. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, the reason I usually tend to stream around this time of day is because right now this is sort of, I'm like in between times right now for classes. So I have classes starting at 4:30 Eastern time for me. I have another class, and then that's my last class of the day because I'm at college, for those of you who don't know. So it's just a little bit easier for me to stream sort of in between my afternoon class and my sort of evening class, I guess. We get him, teammate? Is there another guy over there? Guess we're good. Let's hop on this. So far, we're doing pretty good. Hostile lightning strike. That's not good. Oh my god. Yo. How did we just get those kills? I don't even know. I just got really lucky with that. Shoot. Nope. Oh my god, stream. That took way too many bullets to kill that guy. Are these guys still spawning back here or what? Like, what's going on? I guess they are still spawning over here, but they're like... Oh, God. Yo, they've got to be upstairs here, I'm guessing, right? One of them's got to be upstairs. Or is he following me? I think I could have sworn for a second. No, why did I just call those in? Oh, man, dude. I just realized we're really close to the end of this round, so the wraps aren't really going to do a whole lot. That's all right, though. I should really be using this Kuda class, because that's what you guys suggested. Let's keep slaying with that. Remember me? Yes, Mads, I do remember you, man. Oh, my God. No! Ah, we just couldn't get our shots on that guy, man. Curses. That's all right, though. You can say my name, Mads Rodel. It's a Norwegian name. Is that actually your real name, like Mads Rodel? Is that how you pronounce it? Or Rodal? Am I even pronouncing it right? I hope I'm not butchering it. I'm glad I found your channel. You earned a sub today. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Threat neutralized.
Halftime. Secure the objective.
All right, let's get it.
Securing A.
What's up, mate? Yo, what's going on, KRNGHenis? How you doing today, man? What a great name. What a fantastic name. Oh, of course they're just all waiting right there. Honestly, it's a good strat, but hiding right behind that bus, I don't know. It definitely is a great place to position yourself.
Hostile server is inside.
Beginning parts of these games. Oh, dude, he's got to be really weak. Is there another one over there? There's got to be. Or we could just get feeded. That's cool, too.
Securing B.
Yo, what's going on, Lars Johnson? How you doing today, man? I'm sorry, I don't understand whatever language you just typed in the chat there, dude. I'm completely oblivious to whatever you just tried to say to me. Yo, what's up? It's Nathan. Welcome back, man. I try to type it into translate. I can't type it into translate right now, man, because I'm in the middle of a game, but...
Securing B.
Did we get him? Alright, nice. Oh, jeez. Alright, we're gonna step it up here a little bit. Yo, what's going on, Asylum? Welcome to the stream today, brother. How you doing today, man? Asylum, ranking up the tokens there, man. You got 240, brother. You're getting a lot, dude. Like, damn. That was Norwegian, sorry. No worries, man. They've got streaks up the wazoo right now. Holy crap. Wait a minute. I thought that was the guy sitting in the corner right there, man. Legitimately controlling the Cerberus. Just barely getting him, man. Yo, what's going on, Pickrade? How you doing today, man? Welcome to the stream. Why are you not using attachments? I am using attachments, man. I've got quick draw, grip, and rapid fire on this bad boy. This is what was suggested by the viewers. If you guys want to suggest a class setup, type _class in the chat. It'll give you guys a link to a Google form. You can go ahead and fill that out, and then I can go ahead and try out your class setup. We've got a lot of submissions right now, so I'm kind of just going in random order, kind of just picking out classes that look interesting or that I really have the attachments for as of right now. And then as we continue to level up here and I have access to more weapons, we can use some of those newer classes. What's going on, Duty? How you doing today, man? Oh my god. You are good at COD? I appreciate that, Mads. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Just lots of practice, dude, is really all it is. Just lots and lots of practice. When am I going to be playing with viewers? I'm not exactly sure yet, man. It'll be sometime soon, though. I'll probably play like maybe 1 or 2 more games solo here, and then I'll be sure to hop into some games with you guys. So speaking of which, if you guys haven't shot me a friend request on PSN, make sure you go ahead and do that. Don't be shy. I accept all friend requests. Type !PSN in the chat. It'll give you my PSN name, and I'll be sure to accept it. It's really weird because this gun does not feel like it has quick draw on it right now for some reason. Like the ADS still feels really slow, especially for an SMG, which is quite strange.
Enforcer kill.
UAV awaiting orders.
Deep into their spawn now, boys. That's a person. Oh no. Damn, couldn't nail the shots, boy. Yo, what's going on, Pro Gaming Ninja? How you doing today? Isaac Flirthy, what's up, man? What's my KD? Iden? To be honest with you, I think it's like a... I think it's like an 8, or no, not an 8. Holy crap, like a 2.8. Is what I meant to say. I think it's like a 2.89 or something like that. It's in the high 2.8s, I believe. Hey, could you use my class, Devil Boy? I'm not taking like class requests right now, man. I'm just going to be trying out classes in sort of random order here. So because we do have so many submissions, we have like 70 classes submitted or something like that, which is insane. Like you guys submitted a crap ton. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm just kind of going through randomly and just picking classes for stuff that I have unlocked. His KD's 1 million? Yeah, dude, I freaking wish. Nick, my KD is 2.82. I don't know if that's true, man. I mean, if it is 2.82, I'd be pretty proud of that. I really wanted to shoot for a 3 KD. That was like sort of ideal for me. But it is what it is. What's up? Can I donate with Pay Safe Card? I believe so, man. I believe you can donate with that. I believe that is one of the options for Streamlabs. If you've donated to other streamers using that, you should be able to do it for me. That's all I do now. Gaming Ninja, how long have I been streaming? Just today, man. I've been live for 15 minutes, so not that long at all. Use the Man-O-War with Quick Draw Stock and Fast Mag. Dude, the Man-O-War, actually, someone gave me a Man-O-War class setup yesterday, and I was, like, doing really well with it. The one thing that I really hate about the Man-O-War, though, is the iron sights. I was talking to my roommate about it yesterday, actually, because he plays COD, too. And the iron sights on the Man-O-War are just, they're a little clunky. Does anyone else feel that way? Does anyone else feel that way? I don't know. Ah, shoot, of course that guy destroyed me, man. Damn, if I can donate with PaySafe, I'm gonna give you that sweet 50. Damn, dude, 50 grand? I'm just messing with you, man. Hey, just know, guys, that donations are never required. They're never asked for. But they are there to support if you guys do want to. Playing with, freaking, what's it called? The 6 Sense perk. I've started to appreciate how good this perk is, man. Like, holy crap. And Tracker's helping me out a lot as well. Like, it's just helping me so much being, like, situationally aware. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Is it just PayPal and American card? It is just PayPal and American card. You have PaySafe? Oh, that sucks, man. That is unfortunate. If you could add the PaySafe to, like, a PayPal, I don't know how that works. But if you could do that, then obviously you could just donate through PayPal. But again, I have no idea how all that stuff works. I've never even heard of PaySafe, to be honest with you. Can I play with a sniper? If I get to a class that has a sniper, guys, I'll be sure to play with it. I can actually scroll through and see if I can find a sniper class that somebody suggested, because I'm sure someone did to try to troll me.
Counter UAV has been eliminated.
Oh god, where are we getting shot from? Did we just barely lose that game, man? Damn, if I was paying a little bit more attention, we might have actually been able to take the W, but it is what it is. There's no, no, they're better than the KN44 iron sights. Are you joking me, man? Yo, royalty risen, man. I know you support the stream a lot, bro, but I could legitimately ban you for saying that. No. Dude, the KN44 iron sights I think are a lot better than the Man-O-War iron sights. Like when you ADS with the KN44, because you've got like the 3 little bars that come up, it just looks much more separated. It looks so much cleaner. Hennis, I have to go. I'm so sorry because I have to watch a film with my family. Hey, no worries. It's Nathan. Thanks for stopping by then, man. I appreciate it. If I 1v1 you and won, would I be closer to joining Carnage? Carnage doesn't do that sort of thing, man. We're not like, we don't really pay attention to like people, like obviously we do want people who have really high KDs and stuff. We do want people who are really good at the game, but what we really pay attention for, with the reason we're going to recruit someone to the team, is if they get really good gameplays. That's really the only reason we would recruit somebody. Like you can tell us, so like if you're trying to hit up Carnage, if you're trying to show off how good you are, don't tell us how high of a KD you have, or you know how high your score per minute is or whatever. We really look for people who can like drop really good gameplay. So like multiple nuclears, high kill gameplays, interesting, unique gameplays, stuff like that. Count me in if you play with viewers. Awesome, Nick. Yeah, I'm gonna be playing with viewers probably right after this game, man. I'm gonna do one more game here with this CUDA class, and then I'm gonna hop in and play with some of you guys as well. Because this lobby is pretty good, and we're getting uplinks, so you guys know we gotta take advantage of it. Codbeast, the M87 Ironside is shit. Yeah, to be honest with you, the M87 Ironside is not that great. Personal preference? Yeah, it is personal preference, royalty. I'm just messing with you, man. Just messing with you. What's going on, Cameron? How you doing today, brother? I submitted the Man-O-War class. Can you please use it now? KurtTube, right now, man, I'm sticking with the CUDA class that was suggested. Actually, I can give you the username of the person who suggested it. This class was suggested by... Oh, this person never left their name. They just called the class the HENIS. The HENIS. So, are you doing yesterday's classes as well that I submitted? Yes, man. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through randomly and just picking classes, and we're just going with those. So if you guys are new to the stream and you want to submit a class, type !class in the chat. It'll give you a link to a Google form, and you can fill that out to give me a class up to play with. Yo, what's going on, Diogo? How you doing today, man? Welcome to the stream. You're so cool. I appreciate that, McParty. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Do I have the season pass in IW? I believe I do, man. If I don't, I should definitely try to make sure that I have that for tomorrow, because I do plan on streaming the DLC tomorrow for you guys. How you doing, dude? Any nukes today? So far, no nukes today, Cameron. We've only been streaming for 20 minutes, so nothing insane just yet. I'm waiting for that perfect class to come along that somebody suggests that just like that I can own with. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up, Kodach? Welcome to the stream today, man. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better, dude. I know you were on Twitter earlier. You were saying you weren't feeling too well. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better, dude. My older brother's in your lobby. Yo, dude, I hope I destroy him. I'm just kidding, bro. I hope we have a good time playing together. Oh, dude, I gotta see this kill cam. Look at this timing. Dude, that guy got so lucky. Holy crap. Yo, what's going on, Godly Goo? How you doing today, man? Ooh, that frame lag right there. Damn.
Reaper destroyed.
What are teammates doing in their spawn? No. Yo, did spawns flip?
Demolition destroyed.
What the hell just happened? Oh, I just got really confused. Yo, what's going on, Synths? How you doing today, man? Yo, HENIS, Hamza Vlogs is on YouTube is my cousin. I recommend him to you. Yo, I appreciate that, you Waste. Thank you very much, man. Thank you, bro. What's going on, Jordan? How you doing today, brother?
Mechanical down.
Oh, God, I thought I could get out of the way there. Kodach, thanks. I'm feeling a little bit better. Still got a fever, though, but it's whatever. Yeah, it'll probably go away soon. If you've had it for, like, a day or two now, the good news is you're probably through the worst of it. It's always the first, like, couple days or whatever of a fever that always suck the most. Oh, you missed the throw, buddy. We're just gonna kind of chill in their spawn right now. My teammates are not doing a very good job right. They're literally just sitting in the spawn. It's not making it any easier. HENIS, can you do my Man of War class? I got 10 nukes with it. Hey, I want to give everybody a fair chance, man, for me to be able to use their class setup. So I don't want to, like, prioritize anybody else's class setup as of right now, man. Only got it today, LMAO. Ah, well, then maybe the worst of it is yet to come. Hopefully not, though. We'll see. I don't get sick often, though, and mostly it's only a day or two. So yeah, that's good. I usually don't get too sick a lot often either. But the thing with me getting sick, I used to get sick like more frequently when I was in high school. And I guess that was just because, you know, everyone would go away for the summer, and then everyone would come back, like, around the same time, right, from, like, all over the world, at, like, their travel or whatever. And then everyone all coming back to that one spot all at once kind of triggers that sickness. So I feel like that's kind of what did it. And, like, whenever I would get sick, it would always be around the same time every single year. It would always be around, like the first couple weeks of school in September, and when it would hit me like a freight train, and I wouldn't get sick like at all for the rest of the year, but that one time at the beginning of the year, man, it would always like kill me, bro. Always murdered me. Are you gonna be able to pre-order the DLC? Because Activision support that said season pass owners can't pre-order it, but then I asked Prestige's Key, and he said he's able to pre-order it. I don't know, man. I honestly really haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to IW, to be 100% honest with you. Because I've just been really focusing on BO3 and stuff, because that's the game that, you know, I truly enjoy right now, and that I know a lot of you guys enjoy watching as well. So to be honest with you, I don't really know about any of that stuff, to be quite frank. COD Beast, how can I donate? If you guys do want to donate to the stream, there is a link right below the video stream. If you're watching on YouTube, that just says donate here. You can click that link and donate. Donations are never required, guys, but they are there if you guys would like to donate. Oh god, I did not want to get killed by that guy's Ripper. York Echo, what's up, man? I'm giving away, yo, Josh PL, please don't self-advertise, dude. And HENIS, you really need some mods on here on YouTube? Yo, Kodach, I thought it, like, honestly, bro, I've got, like, a lot of people modded on YouTube, but, like, some of them just don't show up for the stream, so that's honestly, it's honestly a little bit disappointing. Sniper, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. But you're right, I probably should think about modding some new people here pretty soon. Damn, they got a Wraith up or something? Do I like IW? To be honest with you, bro, I'm not a huge fan of the game. But it's alright. It just seems to me like it lacks a whole lot of creativity, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Damn, dude. Damn. Add me. Yo, COD Beast, I'm always willing to add people, man. If you guys want to shoot me a friend request, do not be shy. I accept all friend requests. Sorry for being bad mod. Yo, Tom, you're fine, man. You're fine. I think KRNGHenis was referring to the mods on like the YouTube side of stuff. So it is what it is. It's whatever, man. You guys are usually pretty active on the for the Twitch modding though, which is always nice. It's really nice to see you in here, Tom. Welcome to the stream, buddy. Bro, the race just got a 6-man. Did it really, dude? I wasn't even paying attention. Hennis, if you're looking for mods, can I be one? You waste. I'm not. I don't think I'm looking for any mods on the YouTube side as of right now, but I may be looking for some on YouTube. Or excuse me, I'm not looking for any mods on the Twitch side, but I may be on the YouTube side. We'll see. I mean, kids like the one you just said, something about the giveaway. Yeah, right, exactly, KRNGHenis. Yeah, it would be helpful to... I mean, usually the only real reason I would want a mod is if someone, like, repeatedly spams stuff. If someone just comes in here and pastes a copy, you know, copy-paste messages like that and then leaves, for me, I don't care about that. Because if anyone has half a brain, they're not going to go check him out because they don't care. And that in the best case scenario, is going to get him maybe 1 subscriber. Maybe. Like, no one really cares, you know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is, man. So, yo, what's up, Dismo? Welcome to the stream today, man. Yo, is Dismo spamming, bro? Can we get a mod to handle that? Just messing with you. No one ban Dismo, please no. Ooh, 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 we destroyed him. Oh, is he? Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus, get out of the way. How you doing, Kramsky? Welcome to the stream today, man. Can I be mod? I'm always in your stream. I know a lot of you guys are. I know. I don't know. I feel weird about modding people as of right now. These raps are going to destroy me, dude. I don't know how they got raps, man. Come on, dude. No, please don't. These guys aren't even doing that well, man. Look at my team, though. Jesus. Jesus. Yo, what's up, Baba Ops? Welcome to the stream, buddy. Yo, these guys need to chill. This one kid's been camping up there for like the whole freaking game. Azex, do you have any good tips on how to deal with rage on games? Honestly, bro, just try to recognize that it is just a game, man. I got pinched hard. But you're like I don't usually rage, man, at game. Like the only game that I really rage at, I would say, is H1Z1 right now. H1Z1 makes me rage so hard. When I play Call of Duty, I don't really rage though. Invite next game? Yes, dude. I will be playing with viewers next game, guys. Don't you worry. The way I usually play with viewers, too, is just going to be the first 6 people to join up on my session, because I accept all friend requests, guys. So, it's going to be the first 6 people to join up on my session, or the first 5 people, I should say. Shake and Foe. Sorry, Hennis, I had to eat some ice dessert. Hey, no worries, man. What's going on, Greg Zors? How you doing today, man? Of course I remember you, brother. Welcome back, man. Guys are everywhere, man. Besides Hennis, you should be looking for someone with prior experience in being a mod. Tom, aren't you already a mod in my stream? Dude, where did this guy go? For how much time have I been in Carnage? I've been in Carnage for almost 2 years now, man. My 2-year anniversary is going to be coming up July 12th. July 12th will be my 2-year anniversary of being in Carnage. It's pretty lit. Dismo, I'm sorry I missed... Dismo, I don't know if you're still in here, bro, but I'm sorry I missed your stream yesterday. I caught, like, the very tail end of it when you were raiding that guy. And that was pretty much it. That was all I got. You were raiding... His name began with an S. I forget what it was exactly, though. But, I literally just joined as you were raiding him, and I was like, oh, sick, I can watch Dismo, and then all of a sudden, like, the stream just ended, and I felt bad. I mean, if you need another YouTube mod... that's what I meant. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. You freaking kidding me, bro? Sorry, I just made you waste your scythe, man. Try not to take it personally. Hi, can you use the class that I posted yesterday? Search. So what I'm doing, man, is I'm just going through, and I'm just picking the, I'm just picking random class setups as we go. So I'm not going linearly. I'm not going in like chronological order in order of submission. Because I feel like that would be kind of unfair to the newcomers in the stream. So I'm just kind of picking them randomly, guys. Dude, this one guy's been sitting up here for the whole time, dude. We're gonna leave right after this. I can be mod if needed. If not, it's whatever. Thanks, KRNGHenis. I appreciate the offer, man. As of right now, I think I'll just need to like take some time to decide who I want to mod. I don't want to just mod people for the sake of modding people, you know. What DLC weapon do you think I'm gonna get out of my bribe? I don't know, dude, but I hope it's a good one. I hope you get it like a ranged weapon, you know. I hope you don't get a melee weapon. Well, yeah, you said it's a weapon bribe, so Hopefully. And then who just hosted the stream? Kramsky, I believe. It was Kramsky. Thank you very much for hosting the stream, Kramsky. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Enemy down.
That's a teammate. Thank God, dude. Yo, someone else taking the time to host the stream. Snipers, thank you for your host. I appreciate it. Thank you guys all so much for your host support today. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hostile UAV spotted.
Enemy down.
All right, we're good. We're good. Please don't eat me. Please don't eat me. Please don't eat me.
Lost a satellite. Satellite drone transfer.
That was big. That was nice. Oh, we're gonna lose this, man. I wasn't even paying attention. Damn, we were getting absolutely wrecked.
UAV ready.
My older brother donated. COD Beast. I didn't get a donation message, man. All the donations that come through the stream show up right on the stream overlay. So, unfortunately, I don't think the donation went through, man.
Kill.
Or you're just trolling me, man, and you didn't actually donate. Can I play with you a little bit? Surge, absolutely, man. Yeah, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably just going to back out right after this. Since this game's over now, I'm going to back out and allow some of you guys to join. If you want to shoot me a friend request, type !PSN in the chat. It'll give you my PSN name. And then that will, that'll let you can just join right from there. I told my older brother to use my name when he donated. COD Beast, yeah, I haven't gotten a donation, man. The last notification I have from Streamlabs is a follow on Twitch.
Never send an organic to do a machine.
Shout out, please. Yo, shout out to Tucked Slice, man. Shout out to you, bro. Someone asked me, how do you host the stream? So if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can't host. It's actually a Twitch thing that allows you to host. But essentially what it is it allows... Yo, hold on. I'll finish that in just a second. Is Ismael Coelho? I'm not sure if I'm butchering your name, but I appreciate that new YouTube subscription, man. Thank you very much. Welcome to the YouTube team, brother. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. If you guys do subscribe to the channel, by the way, the YouTube channel, you will see your names pop up on screen right below the right below my face cam, just like that. So be sure to subscribe if you guys are new and you enjoy the content. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so hosting. So if you go over to your Twitch channel and you type /host and then a space and then my name, ProHenis, then you'll automatically host my channel on your Twitch channel, which means that all of your viewers from your channel will be sent to my channel. So that's essentially how that works. We just unlocked the Wraith finally, dude. Finally. Godly, can I play? Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man. Yeah, well, the way it's gonna work, guys, is just gonna be first come, first serve. So you guys all shot me a friend request, those of you in the last like 3 minutes. I'll go ahead and accept these friend requests, and then it's just gonna be the first 5 people that join me up until we have a full 6-man party, and then I'll just hop in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make my party. Actually, I'm gonna make it friends only. So there you go. Now you guys should be able to join up on me. And while you guys do that, I'm gonna go ahead and select another class to use. So we just used that CUDA class. Let me go ahead and throw on this Man-O-War class right here. I know someone was talking about me using the Man-O-War, so I'm going to go ahead and give the Man-O-War a little bit of love here. We'll throw on the Man-O-War. What do we got with Elo Sight? Thank you to whoever suggested the Elo Sight, man, because I don't like the iron sights. We got Quick Draw, Stock, and Fast Mag. Quick Draw, Stock, and Fast Mag. That actually sounds like a pretty beast setup, dude. Get rid of that. And then we have Afterburner, Fast Hand, Scavenger, and Blast Suppressor. Afterburner, Fast Hands. We don't unfortunately have Scavenger yet, and Blast Suppressor. We're probably gonna get rid of that. And then we have UAV, Hater, and Power Core. So this is a nuclear class right here, boys. This is a nuclear class. So for streaks, unfortunately, we don't have any of those non-lethals. But what I'm gonna do is, because we just unlocked the Wraith, I'm gonna throw that on. So we have UAV, Counter UAV, and Wraith. Once I'm back up to level 55, guys, I will like be sure to like stick strictly to your guys' class setups. What mic do I use? I use an Audio Technica AT2020. What's going on, Nick? How you doing today, man? Visual Gamer, what's your opinion on the channel called Ryan Toys Review on 630 million views per month? Honestly, they're just insane. I think what it really comes down to is, I know there's a lot of, skepticism about whether or not they're view botting or if it's fake or legit, but essentially, I just think it's a lot of kids, a lot of young kids who like watching those toy reviews, who like watching another young kid their age play with those toys, and then they just watch the videos over and over and over again because they're young and they've got nothing better to do. So that's why I think they get so many views. It's just little kids drooling, watching an iPad, with their tongues out, and nothing's going on consciously, and they're just watching the video over and over and over again. Can you send me a friend request? I don't send people friend requests, man, but you're welcome to send me a friend request, and then I'll be sure to accept it. In the class forum, there's no ELO or secondaries. Yeah, there is. Oh no, you're right. There are no secondaries, and there is an ELO site, man. There is an ELO site, but you're right. I should add secondaries. I should definitely do that. $103 donation, you got that? I did indeed, man. That is the largest donation that someone has ever sent to me in a stream. Largest by far. Actually, no, it's not the largest by far. So the three, is it? No, it's the four highest donations I've ever gotten is a $100 donation, a 101, a 102, and a 103. That was a little donation more that we had. How old am I? I'm 18 years old, man. Oh, Gaming Ninja. I'm pretty sure you hosted my stream, and I do appreciate that. If any of you guys want to join up, we still got room for like 4 more people in here, so don't be shy to join on up, guys. And shoot me a friend request if you have not done so already. If you type !PSN in the chat, it'll give you my PSN name, and then you should be able to join. Godly Goo says he can't join. That's a little strange, man. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure that everybody can join, I'm just going to close the application and restart just to make sure. Hennis, will you be getting an Xbox One anytime soon? I don't plan to, man, to be 100% honest. To be 100% honest with you. Just because I'm sticking to PS4 right now, just makes everything a little bit easier. And I know a lot more of you guys have a PS4, I think, too, those of you guys who watch me. And plus, Call of Duty has all the exclusive deals with PlayStation, so it just kind of makes sense for me as a COD YouTuber to have a PlayStation. Wow, that's a lot of money for start. Lucky? Yeah, dude, it's an insane amount of money. $103 is an insane amount of money. I'm just going to go ahead and restart, and then hopefully you guys should be able to join up on my session here. Yeah, if you guys are watching this stream right now and for some reason you didn't get a notification through YouTube, or you saw it through Twitter, or you just happen to be on my channel, tap the little bell icon right below the video player next to my channel name, and that can actually notify you for all the videos that I upload and every time I go live, too. What's the best gun in the game? In my opinion, man, the KN-44. I think the KN-44 is a beast weapon. All right, you guys can join up on my session again now. I'm going to go ahead and check and see if anyone else sent me a friend request. And then we can hop right into it. No new friend requests, but we did get a new subscription on the YouTubes. Avi Deruva, I appreciate that subscription. Thank you very much. Welcome to the KRNGHenis YouTube Army team. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. Thank you for the support. What do you think will be the next COD? I'm not sure yet, man. There are rumors for it to be boots on the ground. It's not going to be Call of Duty People's Army or whatever that crap was that was going around. It's not going to be that. We know that for sure. There we go. You guys seem to be able to join now. We got room for one more person, so hopefully you guys will be able to join up. I'm just going to go ahead and mute you guys. I'm sorry. Don't take it personally, but it's just going to make it a little bit easier for when I play and for the stream to go ahead and enjoy it as well. I subbed Homer. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Homer. And Tom Galder. I appreciate the subscription, man. Thank you very much. Why didn't it come up? I'm not sure, man. Usually it does come up, but in case it didn't, man, I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Welcome to the KRNGHenis YouTube team. I appreciate it, dude. All right, here we go. Chaos Mosh Pit. We got a full 6-man. Let's roll out. Let's make some magic happen, boys. Boy, Tom Golder, I'm sorry, man. Honestly, I think the YouTube sub notifications are a little bit glitchy. I think the system that we had before, which was the whole system with freaking Stream Warrior, was it was much more of a glitchy program and launching it and stuff, and it would crash a lot. But it definitely was more consistent in terms of posting the actual names of the people who subscribed. And then this new way I'm using it a little bit more streamlined. It's got a few more slick features, but to be honest with you, I don't think it's as good. You need 1 million subs? I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Hennis, do you see my messages or are you just missing them? I'm seeing your messages, man, but I'm just trying to keep up with everybody, and then the chat keeps scrolling, and I'm just picking and choosing messages, man. I'm sorry about Ops. I'm not deliberately trying to miss you. What I really try to do is when there's people in the stream, and this is what happens. And this is what happens with a lot of the times when I stream is that I'll pick and choose and say hello to the people who aren't in here as often, and then the people who are in here a lot, I see your names all the time, so my mind just kind of goes right over you. Crazy Donator has donated $6,000 with the message, "Enjoy the money, buddy." Yo, thanks, dude, for typing that in chat. Except you didn't actually donate any money. You're just trying to troll everybody. All the donations, man, show up on screen in little alert fashion. You didn't donate me $6,000. You're trolling me, man. With a name like Crazy Donator, chill. Hey, dude, I love your videos. Can you give me some tips on how to grow fast? Tom Golder, the best tip that I can give you, man, is to consistently post content. Treat every video you upload like it's a job interview. David Hernandez, what's up, man? You say I'm trash, dude? That's too bad. I don't know why you're still in here, then. Baba Ops, no problem. Just since other people's messages don't show, or yeah, sometimes other people's messages don't show, and a lot of the time too, it's just there's so many messages. I'm just trying. I gotta pick and choose, and a lot of the times I just want to say hello to the new people. The people who I don't necessarily recognize. Do you remember me? You used to sub to me, McParty Norse Gaming. I don't know if I do remember you, man, to be 100% honest with you. My luck has been shit lately with my nan in the hospital on the brink of death, and all I wanted to do was join, but no, 6 people arrived. VDF Logic, I'm sorry, man.
Fire break extinguished.
I'm sorry, brother. Hopefully you'll be able to join sometime soon, man. And I hope your grandmother does better here in the future soon, too, dude. Are you subbed to NoahJ456? I am, man. Yes, he's a fantastic YouTuber. So good at zombies. Incredibly entertaining as well. He's a good guy. Hey, it's 1 minute. Gotta upload. All right, brother. What's going on, Kramsky? How you doing today, man? Alright, guys, we're playing up against a try-hard party right now. At least a try-hard party of 3. You see all these guys, they're all like similar levels. You know these guys all try-hard. So we got some pro HENIS try-hards in here as well, though. So we'll see how we do.
Enemy down.
Oh, yo, what?
Robot. Tackle.
Damn, dude, we gotta try to backtrack there a little bit. Do I still pub stop with my team? I haven't played with a lot of the Carnage guys in an extremely long time, man. It's been a very long time since I played with any of those guys. But they're all really good guys to play with. Can I join next game? What I'm going to do, man, is I'm probably just going to play a couple games with these guys, maybe like 2 or 3, and then I'll back out and play with some more people. How long does it take to upload a video? For me, it takes like an hour for a 5-minute video. That probably just means you have a really low upload speed, man, in all honesty. That's all that means, man.
Gunslinger KIA.
Alright, these guys are really trying to go hard right now. We gotta step it up. Gotta really step it up. Yo, what's going on, Team Vortex? Do you remember me if I say I really like penguins? I Skype you for like... You Skyping with me for like 6 months ago? I think I do remember that, man, actually. You saying you really like penguins? I remember someone who was in my stream saying they really like penguins. What's my sensitivity at? 20, man. Or no, 20 in like other Call of Duties. In this game, it's the highest sensitivity, which I believe is a 14 or 15. What Elgato do I have? I actually don't have an Elgato, man. The capture card that I use is the Razer Ripsaw. If you guys don't know who Razer is, they make like all things gaming. They're absolutely phenomenal. They made my keyboard, the mouse mat, the mouse. They're insane. They make excellent gaming products. Really high quality stuff. They're expensive, but they're really high quality. Yo, JJ, thank you very much for that follow today, brother. I appreciate that, man. Welcome to the Pro HENIS Army, my dude. I appreciate that support, brother. Thank you very much. Welcome. Hope you enjoy your stay. What's going on, Finn? How you doing today, brother? Welcome to the stream. Do you like Mr. Jalek JD's codename pizza? I know who Mr. Jalek is, man. I know who you're talking about. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his name, in all honesty, though. But I do know who you're talking about. Are you going to cold with somebody from Carnage? Am I going to play with somebody from Carnage? I'm not really sure what you're asking here, man.
Confirmed.
Really want to try and beat these guys, man. Yo, get their tags, bros. Get their tags. We got to pick up all these guys' tags as hard as we can. You mad with a 14 sensitivity? That's high, bro. It is pretty high, man. It is pretty high. Damn. Mads, I'm injured my foot. I'm having a hard time moving around my house. At least I got to eat pancakes. Yo, true, dude. Pancakes can fix a lot of the upsetness we all got. You know what I'm saying? I really got... Oh, they just dropped wraps. Just as I was going to say I wanted to drop wraps, these guys drop wraps. That may be GG right there. Yo, Haytham, what's up, man? Welcome back to the stream. Weren't you the guy that was trolling in here yesterday that somebody should have banned? I feel like you are. Hennis, if you're going to play some H1Z1 soon, you reckon you'd do 5s with viewers? Probably not, man. In all honesty, when I'm doing H1Z1 as of right now, what I do a lot of is just solos, trying to get really high up in those solo ranks. So I don't really do a whole lot of play with viewers as of right now. What's my Skype? Tom Golder. I don't give out my Skype, man. My Skype is private. Trying to wreck all these guys as hard as we can, man, but like it doesn't mean much if we can get the kills but can't pick up the tags, you know. I feel like since these guys got the hater, they're actually like doing worse with killing us, or at least with me. You're really good. I appreciate that, Finn, man. Yeah, lots of practice, brother. I'm not sure if I already acknowledged that message, but just lots and lots of practice, my dude. These raps are not making anything easier. When did I start gaming? The first Call of Duty I ever played was Modern Warfare 3, so that was back in 2012, I believe. I've been playing PC Call of Duty ever since, man. Yeah, so I am using keyboard and mouse, for those of you who don't know. I am playing on console, but I'm using keyboard and mouse.
Enemy spotted.
These raps are super annoying, bro. They're not making my life any easier. I think they just went away, though. Nope, they're still in here.
She's done.
They're trying so hard to pick up all these tags, man. Oh my god.
UAV above.
Why I'd Apollo leader? He sucks. Apollo doesn't suck as a leader, man. Apollo's a great leader. Yo, what's going on, Denzo? How you doing today, man? What's going on, Avi? How you doing? Type exclamation point class, not class exclamation point. They get more raps, man. I don't understand how they got more raps. Are you playing on PS4? I am, yes. What times do I start streaming on what days? I don't have a set schedule as of right now, man. Still trying to work out getting acclimated to my my college schedule here, because I am at college, so I do have to stream around my classes and stuff. So once I have a good idea of it, though, I'll probably make a video on it or something like that. I'm not really sure. The first COD you ever played was World at War. World at War is a great COD, man. Bro, you hack because you use a keyboard? It's not hacking, man. It's just, like, honestly, I'm not here to, like, impress anybody, get world record gameplays, or play competitive, or say that I'm insane. I'm just here to have fun, play Call of Duty. I played PC COD for 3 years before I even got a console. The only reason I got one was because when I came to college, I wanted my laptop to be just for streaming and then be able to play on something else. So I didn't have to play on a laptop and stream from that same laptop, because then I get a lot of frame lag and stuff, and it just wouldn't be fun. And I wouldn't be able to play with as many of you guys as well. And the PS4 has all the exclusive deals with Call of Duty for this year, so I get everything earlier too. So it just made more sense. I don't think it gives me an unfair advantage, man. I mean, you saw me right there. I didn't do insane at all. I'm not the best PC player, man. I'm just here to have fun. I'm not trying to like prove that I'm the best or anything. I'm just here to have fun, play some Call of Duty for you guys. Hennis, if I get to play with you, it will make my day. All right, man. If you're here for like another 20 minutes or so, man, you probably will get to play with me. How do you play on PC on the PS4? So I play with a keyboard and mouse, but on the PS4. The way I do that is I have a ZIM4, which is like an adapter. And it just basically acts as a converter. So it converts all of the keyboard and mouse movements to controller movements. So that's why it's just a third-party adapter. It's not supported by PlayStation. It's not against terms of service, though, and it's not illegal. It's not against the game. You know, it's not against Call of Duty's terms or anything like that. Before I get triggered, hacking is an unauthorized access into a computer. Cheating is a modification to a game. True, and I'm not even modifying a game. Joshua, what's up, man? Shout out to you, bro. Ops keyboard, Denzo, man. What? Hacking is if you hack the game to get cheats. Kappa, what's up, Bear? Welcome to the stream today, man. How you doing today, buddy? Was I using the right class for this, or the right setup for this Man of War? 3V hitter power core. Oh, and I had kinetic armor on. I do believe I have that unlocked, actually. Yes, I do. So we should definitely be rocking that. These guys are a little bit tryhardy, so I don't want to play kill confirm against them again either. If it was like an objective game mode, I probably would have stayed in. Yeah, I don't want to play. Really don't want to play Nuketown kill confirm against these guys, man. What's going on, Art Crazy? Where can I find a vagina? John Carpent. What? John Senarper Master. I don't. Just look down, dude. What's going on, Tom? Welcome to the stream. It's original. I'm sorry, Tom. I just stole your joke right there. I feel bad. Can I play with you next game, Nick? So what I'm gonna do, man, is I'm probably gonna play like one more game with these guys after this, and then what I'll do is I'll kick all these guys out and play with a brand new 6-man. That's what I do. Does that sound good to you guys? That sound fair? How do you play with keyboard and mouse on PS4? How do you plug it in? So it's all an adapter, man. It doesn't reach up here, so I can't show it to you. But it's just a little adapter that has 2 USB inputs that converts stuff to keyboard and mouse movements. Converts keyboard and mouse movements to controller movements. Reset your stats or restart your YouTube? Reset stats, man. Hands down. Not even close. Are you kidding me? Reset my stats a million times before I reset my YouTube channel. I need me some boobs. If you have a vagina, but you don't have boobs. That's weird. So how many consecutive games do I play with viewers? Usually 2 or 3. Was that my girlfriend in the background? Nah, man, that's my roommate. I'm at college right now. Is this M4? Yes, XIM4. This happens like every stream. Every stream, someone's like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" No, it's my roommate. I don't know why. It's got to be a meme at this point. You guys have to be trolling me. He does not look like a girl. You can't play keyboard and mouse on PS4? Oh, contraire, sir. Yo, Carter, I appreciate you coming by the stream today, man. And Careo Capone, I appreciate that subscription, man. Welcome to the ProHenis YouTube team. I appreciate the support, man. Thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. Is that my boyfriend? Yeah. What do I study? Nick, I'm a cyber forensics major. What?
Did you just say yeah?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
He's lying.
Nah, we're boyfriend. We're boyfriend and boyfriend.
No,
Yep.
we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No.
He's still a little uncomfortable with the whole thing. He's not as out yet as I am. Boobs or butt? I don't know, man. I get asked this question a lot. Matrix, what did I say last time when I asked you? I said I was a boob man? Then I'm a boob man. We're going to go with that. Henis loves Matrix. I do. It's an extremely sexual relationship that we have. Have you completed the 100 wins challenge yet? The 100 wins challenge? I don't even know what that is, man. You think I paid him? Please, bro. He paid me. I'm just trolling you, bro. Dude, what is my teammate still doing up here? Spawns are back here now. No way they have raps. I thought I just heard raps there for a second. Like a G6? Dude, I haven't heard that song in a long time, man. So I guess they're all spawning over down at C. Cool, I can live with that. Are they inside B here? Come on, man. They're just camping, bro. What's my PSN name? Kro, if you want to play with me, don't be shy to shoot me a friend request. I accept all friend requests. Exclamation point PSN in the chat. I'll give you my PSN name. Of course he pushes in right at that moment, man. Oh, of course I'm going to die from that. You have 77 wins at the moment? Damn, dude. Keyboard and mouse is cheating? Get out of here, bruh. Talk about. Just a reminder about the concept logo shout out. Yo, I got you, man. I just got to like make a video. That's the only thing. Pay him to be your boyfriend? Nah, dude, we're not going to do that. Oh, the triple play contract? Oh, no, I have not done that, man. What's the adapter to play mouse and keyboard? It's called a ZIM4, man. XIM4 is how you spell it. Guy just came in and wrecked me. Are you tryharding? I don't know if I'm tryharding right now, man. I'm just kind of playing. I'm not really trying to focus on the stream and focus on you guys as well. So he paid you and he's uncomfortable? Nah, man. We're just friends.
Securing B. Be advised. Hostile HCXD spotted. Losing A.
It gives me an advantage, John. I'm just here to have fun, dude. Even if it does give me an advantage, which it does. I'm gonna tell you, because if I had to use a controller, I'd be absolutely god awful with this, because I'm horrible with a controller. But the thing is, I can do exactly what I'm doing right now on the PC version of Call of Duty, and that's not cheating when I do it over there. So I'm not really sure what your point is, man. I think you're getting your terms a little bit mixed up too, because you said it's an advantage and that's cheating. So if I use a scuffed controller, which gives someone an advantage when they play, does that count as cheating? Make sure you're clear when you're making these arguments, man. And you're gonna say, oh, scuffed controller is legit. Yeah, but it gives me an advantage, right? Not me an advantage. I don't use one, but I know the people who do say it really does give them an advantage. Yeah, right. It'd be cheating in something like GBs, but I'm just doing pubs, and I'm not trying to drop like world record gameplays out here either. I'm just playing Call of Duty for a stream, just interacting with you guys. The stream is not focused around how good I am at Call of Duty. It's not what the stream is here for. We get like 40 plus kills every game in TDM, and we lose almost every time. That's rough, dude. You're back from a holiday? Nice, dude. Nice, welcome back. Mouses are cheating compared to a controller. No, they're not, dude. That's not cheating. Oh my god. It's not cheating, man. You can read the official rules. It's not cheating. You'll be on in about 30 to 45 minutes? Alright, brother. Sounds good, man. Sounds good, my dude. Can I play H? What do you mean, can I play H? Do you mean to say play H1? I'm not really down to play H1 right now, brother, to be honest with you. I kind of want to play some Call of Duty. Hello, I'm with the FBI. You're under investigation due to reports of child pornography on your computer. You are under arrest. Please come out with a check signed to Osama bin Laden. Okay, thanks. Dude, I got you, man.
Hostile weapons on target active. Advised. Hostile UAV incoming.
UAV awaiting
Hostile care package overhead.
TACOM.
Losing C.
Counter UAV.
Bravo secure.
Raptor.
Enemy has C. Alpha secure. Hostile UAV spotted. Friendly care package incoming.
Wraith awaiting orders.
What are you doing here, man? What is that guy doing? Cheaters need to stay on, please. PC. All right, bro. I'll be sure to go back to where I belong. Damn.
Friendly UAV inbound. Securing Bravo. Losing Alpha.
Outrider neutralized.
Counter UAV
Oh
inbound.
god, I'm so dead.
UAV
I feel like I'm about to die at least. Nah, shoot, I should have jumped right out right there.
standby.
Counter UAV inbound.
Hostiles have destroyed your
What attachments do I have in the Man of War? I think, I'm actually not sure, man. I'm actually not sure. I think I've got Quick Draw, Grip,
counter UAV has been
Fast Mag. Oh, Hostile Talon. That's sick.
UAV inbound.
Real sick.
UAV destroyed.
Drop.
Friendly Hellstorm inbound.
No one else still in here? Alright, we're Gucci.
Losing A. Care package inbound.
Friendly care package back here? What the hell, dude? What just happened to spawns? Do I like pie? Hell yeah, I like pie, dude. Oh god, I didn't even see you in there.
Mag KIA.
Mouse insta kills? Mouse insta kills, dude. Yep, it does. Watch me, dude. I'll insta kill people. Look at that insta kill, bro. It's all hacks.
UAV destroyed.
What level am I? Right now, man, I'm currently level 40, Prestige 1. I really wish, honestly, man, I was just still like level 55 or whatever. But, yo, Birdfanger Games, I appreciate the subscription, brother. Welcome to the KRNGHenis YouTube army. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, dude. It's not hacks, it's cheats. It's not cheats either, bro. Chill. Yo, this is not what this stream is supposed to be for, guys. Damn. Yo, I love how Birdfanger just it gets me with that message, man, but he subscribes to my channel. That's respect right there, dude.
Talon in your AO. Securing B.
KIA.
Oh,
Care package inbound.
damn.
Secure.
You're my favorite YouTuber? I appreciate that, Pokemon. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
Enemy has Alpha.
Damn. Couldn't get both those guys.
Securing C.
You're welcome, Dad. I appreciate it, Bird. Thank you, man.
Rolling Thunder.
Please don't send the FBI to my door on child pornography charges, though. That'd be weird.
Bravo.
That'd be weird. I have a little bit of explaining to do. It'd be a little bit confusing. What's up, Asylum? How you doing today, man?
UAV inbound. Friendly care package incoming.
Vector down.
Losing A.
Is there another guy? I feel like there was. There wasn't? Ah, we're Gucci then. The FBI get SMD? Oh my.
Clear
I was gonna say, I was a little bit confused. I didn't think the FBI would just come to people's streams to tell them that they're gonna get arrested. I wonder how many people you could actually scare with that, though. Like, it'd be kind of awkward if you went into someone's stream, posted that, and they actually, like, freaked out and ended the stream.
Be advised.
Then you probably should call the cops on them.
Spotted. It's not one yet. Keep it tight. Friendly Hellstorm inbound.
Ooh.
Securing B.
Oh my god, I just got so lucky.
All locations secure. Hold position.
Yo,
Hostiles
I'm gonna die.
destroyed your counter UAV.
Enemy took A.
I'm surprised I'm not dead yet. Holy crap.
Destroyed your
Securing
UAV.
A.
Hennis, have you ever watched porn? Yes. I don't really know what kind of question that is.
Losing Bravo.
Profit fifth week. Tango down.
Whoa, that was really weird the way my mouse moved right there. You guys see that?
Demo KIA.
Counter UAV awaiting orders.
Damn, dudes, we're going off right now. Oh, if we actually picked it up right now, if we capped all 3 flags and held it, we could actually win this game. Yo, you guys think I can go for a slice C cap right now? Nope. Never mind, probably not. Bad vibes not allowed. Yo, John Cena. I appreciate that follow today, man. Welcome to the ProHenis Army. I appreciate the support, man. Thank you very much. I'm glad you can love the stream, even though we're in disagreement. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it, man. Congrats on playing on the worst system. Yo, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Well, not really. There are adapters designed for keyboard and mouse play on console. I think that's true. Yeah, I don't. Well, it's not. They're not designed. Yeah, but I think they're like specifically designed for like Sony compatible, like only Sony compatible, like keyboard and mouse, keyboards and mice. I don't think it's any keyboard or mouse that you want. And I think it only works on certain games too. I don't think it works for like all games like the Zim 4 does. You want me to stream at 60 FPS 4K? Dude, I wish I could do that, man. I'm not even playing in 4K, so that'd be crazy for me to stream in 4K. That'd be absolutely insane. Please add me on PS4. Denzo, I can add you, man. Yeah, shoot me a friend request. My PSN name is KRNGHenis, KRNGHENIS. You can type !PSN in the chat. It'll give you my PSN name. I accept all friend requests, man, so don't be shy. Can you check out my Man of War class? It's a nuclear class by Pro Ninja Gaming YouTube. Yo, I got you, man. I got you. What's my setup? So I have a laptop that does the streaming, playing on a PS4. Pretty much it. And then I got my keyboard and mouse here, my microphone, Audio Technica AT2020. I've got a lot of the specs that I use here at college, sort of right below the stream. You guys want to go check that out. All right, so I've been playing with these guys for a couple games. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out, leave the party, leave all those guys. And then what I'm going to ask is that for any of you guys who are new, who I haven't had the chance to play with yet, hit me up with a friend request if you haven't done so already and you want to play with me, or join up on my session right now and I can play with you guys. But I'm just going to ask the people who I did just play with to sort of not play right now, just so we can have other people the chance to hop back in. By the way, I suck, no worries, dude. Hello, I'm here from the FBI. We're arresting you due to pornography. This is our 3rd warning. All right, Hathan. Sounds good, man. Why did you leave me and mom? I don't even know who you are. To me, you are Birdo Fanger Games. Someone just asked me to do something. I was going to check out the Man of War class from Pro Ninja Gaming. Man of War class from Pro Ninja Gaming. All right, so there's 2 Man of War classes. There's 2 classes here. Here we go. Submission number 62 from Pro Ninja Gaming. Let's throw this class together, man. See how we can do with it. So you've got the Man of War with Reflex Sight. Interesting. Quick Draw. Grip. Suppressor. Suppressor, that's an interesting touch. And Extended Mags. Oops. So right now to get rid of a perk. Interesting. I'll be interested to hear what you have to do with that. Oh no, man, we can't do this, bro. What are you talking about? We can't have another perk. It's not allowed. We don't have the space for it. Blind Eye, Hardwired, and Engineer. So we'll put on Blind Eye. So we'll just go until we run out of stuff. Blind Eye, Hardwired, and Engineer, which we can't even throw on. And then we can Frag and Concussion, can't throw those on. Lightning Strike, Wraith, and Hater for our streaks. Let's go to score streaks. We got the Lightning Strike, Wraith, and we don't have the Hater yet. So I'm just going to throw on a UAV, because that's like a mini Hater. You know what I'm saying? Not really, though. Not really. That's unfair to call it that. Lobby's not joinable. Can you guys really not join up on my session again? For real? VDF Logic wants to play with me? Alright, dude. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually just going to go ahead and back out, restart my game here. And then I can join up on it. Oh, no suppressor on Man of War. Good luck, Hennis. Yo, dude, thanks. I'm going to need it. Tom, can you head over to the YouTube stream and ban Birdo Fanger Games, please? Tom or Bear, when you guys head over to the YouTube stream and ban him? Birdo Fanger Games, por favor. Hennis, I can't join. I'm just going to restart my game, guys, and hopefully you guys will be able to join after that. Leave a spot for VDF. All right, man. We can't have your racism here in the chat, man. We're not going to allow that. That's outlined in the rules, dude. You can't be saying stuff like that. Hennis, please do a 1v1 with your roommate. Loser reset stats. It's an interesting idea. I don't know. I'm not really that high of a level, though, so it's not really that interesting, you know? Joseph Nichols, open lobby. Yes, I am doing an open lobby, man. So it's just going to be... Well, it's not an open lobby. It's friends only. So actually, I should try to make it open because I think that's part of the issue that maybe some of you guys can't join. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it open. Then hopefully you guys can join off of that. So let me go ahead. Manage party. Set it to open. So there. Hopefully you guys will be able to join up. Hennis, can't you blacklist words like that on YouTube? Yeah, I just haven't done it yet, Tom. Did one of you guys ban him? I just want to make sure. You guys can join up on my session now. I'm going to check and see if I got any friend requests. No friend requests. Don't ban me because my name is also Dennis. Oh, no, we're not talking about banning Dennis, man. Much love, Hennis. No homo. I got you, VDF. I got you, man. We're talking about banning Birdo Fanger Games. Thanks, Bear. I appreciate it. Thank you. VDF Logic's in here. It's lit. We got room for 2 more people, guys. So 2 more people who want to join up. Feel free to. I'm going to try to get a nuked out. Wish me luck. Yo, Azex, good luck, man. I've only gotten 1 nuked out, and it was on Black Ops 2. I don't play a lot of free-for-all, so... And I would definitely want to run a hater if I was ever going for nuked outs, man. Those are not easy to go for. Mad respect to anyone who's ever gotten a nuked out. I'll be on in about 25 minutes. All right, bro. Sounds good. I'll probably be live for like another half hour or so. I mean, like another 45 minutes, actually. Oh, what console am I on? Twitch active. I'm on the PS4, man. If you guys haven't dropped a like on the YouTube stream yet and you are enjoying it, a like rating would, of course, as always, be very much appreciated. Let me go ahead and see how many likes we got on the stream. We didn't have a whole lot of viewers today because it is a Monday, so I know a lot of people are in school, which is unfortunate, so we don't get as many viewers. We've got 31 likes in the stream. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. You got Redwood Rib, dude? Good luck. Redwood is not a fun map. Hennis, I'm going out. I'll be back. All right, see ya, Greg Soros. Thanks for stopping by, man. Yo, Twitch active. I appreciate the follow on Twitch, man. Welcome to the Pro Hennis Army. I appreciate the support, brother. Thank you very, very much. And the Pro Gamer 123, you just subscribed. I appreciate your subscription, brother. Hopefully your name will pop up on screen, but if it doesn't, I appreciate your sub, man. Welcome to the Pro Hennis YouTube Army. School is canceled for you today? Dude, congratulations, man. That's awesome. How many of your subs are active? Not too many of them, man. As you can see, we don't have a lot of viewers as of right now, but a lot of my viewers are younger too. The people who subscribe, who do Twitch and stuff, are usually younger, so they're probably in school at around this time. And my YouTube channel isn't very active right now, as of right now anyways. So we got room for 2 more people, guys. So anyone who's, you know, it doesn't matter if you played with me today. We're just going to try to fill it up with a full 6-man. So even if you just played with me in the last couple games, join up on my session. We can play together right now. Yo, the Pro Gamer 123 coming in with that sub. I appreciate it, brother. Welcome to the Pro Hennis Army, man. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. I think Hennis is the only one that might be able to permaban. I think you guys can permaban as mods. You should be able to. I would imagine so. You've been watching me for 6 months? I appreciate that, Surge. Appreciate it, man. You're so close to 2K, only 180 to go. Damn, dude, that's a grind, man. 2K subs is not a small milestone, bro. By any means. Got room for 1 more player, boys. Room for 1 more if you guys want to join up. Have you done my class yet? No, Nano Cryptic. I don't think I have, man. What's your class setup? YouTube's inferior? YouTube isn't too bad, man. Love you and no homo. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Have you done the class setup? It's the XR2 class. Avi? I'm not sure if I have. Let me go ahead and quickly check. See if there's anybody here with the name of Avi who has submitted a class. I don't see any classes here submitted by someone named Abby. Oh, yes, I do. I do see that class. Yes, I will do this XR2 class right after this one. I got you. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and hop in here, even though we don't have a full 6, man. That's all right. What's going on, Joshua? Welcome back, man. You finished your homework, Homer? Yo, that's lit, man. That's a good feeling. Thanks. Hey, no problem, Abby. I got you. All right, let's hit up with that hard point. What do we got for score streaks on? UAV, Lightning Strike, and Wraith. I haven't used a Lightning Strike in an extremely long time, man. Hopefully we'll be able to do pretty well with it. Jolly Peanut, but there's too many perks to put on what you like. There's too many perks, so put on what you like. All right, man. Jolly Peanut sounds good, man. Can we wish for songs? You can't, Denzo, unfortunately, man. The only reason I don't have song requests is because I stream on both YouTube and on Twitch. And so if we were only streaming on Twitch, then there would be no issues. You guys would be able to play whatever songs you wanted whenever. But when I'm streaming on YouTube, because YouTube has much stricter copyright rules in terms of playing music, if you guys were to request a song that would be copyrighted, which would inevitably happen if you guys could request songs, then the whole stream would just get muted and possibly taken down. It's happened in the past, and the stream's just gotten shut down. So I'm not even streaming anymore, which sucks until the song stops playing, and then it obviously comes back. Yo, what's up, Billiard? Welcome to the stream today, man. Welcome, brother.
Hey, KRNG, I'm in your game, bro.
KRNGA, I appreciate it, man.
Alright, let's go.
Dude, this guy's hyped. It's okay because your music is good. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, so this is just essentially what I'm playing right now is just music off of non-copyrighted music or no copyrighted sounds, something like that. If you just search up NCS on YouTube, you'll be able to find them. Their music is great. And it's all free, so that means I don't get a copyright strike for playing their music in my stream.
Send your load when you're good.
KRNG, I'm barely making this through the stream though, because like, I'm using my laptop and my laptop is like, very, very slow.
You kidding me, brother? You kidding me, man? Yo, Christopher Stump, can you help me with the Die Rise Easter egg? I don't really do a whole lot of Easter eggs, man, to be 100% honest with you. So here we go, guys. A Silenced Man of
I'm
War.
already
Let's see how we do.
baby.
Price TV, what's up, man?
No, boy, no. I'm
How do we
trying
mute
to hit
people?
a nuclear this game too. No.
How do we mute people?
I want to hit a nuclear this game.
No,
I know I can do
I don't
it.
know how to mute people. When I'm playing
I
on
don't
keyboard and mouse,
do
guys,
it.
it's weird because I can't, like...
That's the only problem.
Because I can't, like...
Hardpoint contested.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Man?
This guy's just going to keep talking. We're just going to have to deal with it. What's going on, Price? How you doing today, brother? What's going on, man?
Where is the other guy? He's camping, bro.
Yeah.
This
This kid, man. I'm sorry, stream. I'm sorry. I can't mute him because I don't have the proper controls when I'm playing on keyboard and mouse.
I'm literally doing horribly right now.
Scroll wheel? Is it scroll wheel? I don't think so. Scroll wheel doesn't work. Arrow keys don't work, and WASD doesn't work.
Oh, why didn't it? Hey, I am like lacking right now. I do not.
Shoot, man. I can't mute him. I'm sorry. I can't try scroll wheel. It's not working. Hopefully, if he's watching my stream, he'll maybe know to just try to tone it down a little bit. He's so annoying. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I should have tried to mute him before the stream started. I'm sorry, guys. Dude, this silencer feels weird. It's like the aim is a little bit strange as well. Yo, what's going on, Price? How you doing today, man? The quality during gameplay isn't that great on my end. You pixelate. Myrtle Entertainment, make sure you're watching at source quality, man. Sometimes that can have a couple issues. If you're watching at anything other than source quality, like if you're watching on auto or something, sometimes it just doesn't look as good. Try closing the application. Oh, yo, good idea, Bear. Yeah, if I just quit BO3, maybe he'll stop talking. Turn the quality up. I can't turn the visual quality up, man. Use the controller to mute. Oh, that's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, you're right. I should just do that, shouldn't I? Oh, yo, we just got a sub. Oh my god, my headphone just fell out. Yo, Christopher Stump, I appreciate that subscription. Thank you very, very much. Here we go. Oh my god, thank you. Oh my god. Okay. That was a good call, whoever said that. That was a good call. Whoever said to use the controller. Zebra Plays, yo, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. And William Challenger, what's up, brother? And A. Martin TV, how you doing today? Welcome to the stream. I just got a double kill with a Silenced Man of War.
Infantry neutralized.
ready for deployment.
Hardpoint is ours.
Oh my god. We're going off right now, boys. No, 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 no. Yo, we got another sub. Yo, David Ray, I appreciate your subscription, man. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. It flickers from time to time. I think that's just because of my capture card, man. I do apologize for that. Yeah, it's something with the Razer Ripsaw and OBS. It's not the actual capture card itself that's corrupt. It's something that has to do with the USB entry of the capture card into the computer.
Infantry neutralized.
Oh shoot, they're all spawning over here. Damn, man.
UAV inbound.
Hennis, I meant I'm 2K tokens, not close to 2K subs. Oh, I was gonna say, bro. I was gonna say, man, like, that's really impressive. I was like, damn.
Hardpoint contested.
Infantry
Is there the guy right behind him? No, we Gucci. Oh, man. My Damer tag is Christian Jagers. Yo, I'm always willing to accept friend requests from anybody. So if you guys want to go ahead and drop shoot me a friend request, don't be shy. I accept all friend requests. How old do you have to be to join Carnage? I don't know if we have like an age limit, man. To be 100% honest with you, I don't think we do. You know, we obviously want you to be mature enough, like, to be good at doing YouTube. So that, I guess that's kind of our criteria. Because if you're not old enough to be mature enough to do like YouTube on a fairly consistent basis, then we probably don't want you, man. To be 100% real with you. That, I don't think we have like a specific age limit. I forgot to add in stock instead of extended mags. Hey, it's alright. The aiming does feel a little bit weirder. Like when you ADS, it feels a little bit strange with the sound, so I don't know why. No problem, bro. I must say that I watch your tutorials on YouTube and how to set up Twitch. They're pretty good. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you found them helpful. What the hell, dude? I could not kill that guy. Yo, let's go ahead and see if we can get streaks here really quick. Oh, no, shoot. I wanted the cap points for that. Are you joking me? Oh my god, I just got really lucky. Oh, yo, we just destroyed him. Damn, dude. Oh, nope. Oh god, no, 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 no. I'm innocent. Don't. Of course they're gonna blow me up. Yo, what's going on, Kenneth Koza? How you doing today, man? I subscribed after watching them. Hey, I appreciate that, Myrtle. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate the love, dude. Thank you. I was really hoping we were gonna be able to get it right there. I don't know why I just put it on top of the house, but we'll see. We'll see how that does. Destroyed a couple wraps. That's not too shabby. It's probably the most effective thing I could have done with it anyways. Damn, man, these guys are crazy. Yeah, Carnage doesn't recruit people off clips. No, we're not, the way we usually recruit people is we recruit people who not only have a passion for Call of Duty, but also have a passion for doing YouTube. So we like to recruit people who, like, consistently post high quality Call of Duty content. Do I have Dark Matter? I do not, man. I do not. Well, I had Dark Matter at one point on the PC version of Call of Duty. And then what happened is I reset my stats because I set a light goal or something like that, and then I just didn't ever grind for Dark Matter ever again. That was pretty much close to the transition where I switched over to like console gaming as well. And like I've gone for that thing once, man. I'm not going for it again. That was annoying as hell, dude. Like it was cool to go for it, and you guys did enjoy watching the grind and all that, but like the reward was not worth the grind. I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say? Take the suppressor off, dude. The suppressor is what makes this class difficult. It's what makes it interesting, man. Someone just said in the chat behind you. Because they've got like a late 15-second reaction or something like that. Who's the person behind you? That's my roommate. That is my roommate. Oh, God. Damn. What capture card do you say you use? I use the Razer Ripsaw. You have the Hapog, but it doesn't work in OBS. It sucks. That sucks, man. That really does suck. Yeah, the capture card that I have is the Razer Ripsaw, so it does 1080p, 60 FPS, all the bells and whistles, you know, but it comes with these weird glitches, man. And to be honest with you, the more I think about it, I think it's a glitch, if anything, that has to do with OBS. Because, you know, the more research I did online, the more I actually found that this is an issue that a lot of people are having and not just me, which is actually a really good sign. Because then it shows that it's not an issue with the capture card. Because I had a capture card before this. I had the AverMedia Live Gamer Extreme. And what happened was I was getting the same sort of glitches with that capture card as well. So it means that it's something to do with either my computer or OBS. And then because I saw other people posting about the issue on OBS, you know, in regards to other setups that they have, it pretty much told me that it's an issue with OBS itself. And not like the capture cards or the computers or anything like that. What the hell are we doing to these kids right now? What are we doing to these kids right now? Oh my god, guys. No! Oh my god, if I hadn't called in my streaks right there, that would have been insane. I love your vids, yo. Thanks, Pro. I appreciate it, man. What did we just do to those guys, man? Holy crap. Oh, wait, I forgot. Oh no, I'm gonna lightning strike myself. I just put them all right there. I thought we were still calling in the raid. Dude, what was that clip? Can someone like clip that whole thing? Is that possible to clip all those kills that I had right there? Interesting. If I may ask, what version of OBS do you use? Is it upgraded to the latest version? Yeah, it's the latest version of whatever the latest version is of OBS Studio. I keep everything upgraded. Does your roommate have a YouTube too? If so, tell him I will sub. He does not have a YouTube, man. Does not do the YouTubes. Damn. Yo, what's going on, Cogs Gaming? How you doing today, man? Cogs Gaming comes in and types have. Like it's the beginning of a question, but he doesn't finish the question. What happened, man? What happened? Just curious? Yeah, man. So, yeah, Myrtle Entertainment, if you got any ideas, man, or any suggestions, hit me up, dude, because I'm desperately looking for some advice. Because you're right, like, I shouldn't be getting any lag like this. For a while, what I thought it was like a USB overload. Because I have a USB hub hooked up to my laptop, so I can attach, like, my phone to charge it, my keyboard, my mouse, my microphone, and there's a couple other things attached there as well, and then obviously the capture card. And so for a long time, what I thought it was is I thought it was an issue with like a USB overload, like a USB hub overload. And but that's not the issue either, because I've seen other people posting about it on like desktops, and you shouldn't be having a USB overload on like a Beast Gaming desktop. So I don't know. And they wouldn't make something like this if it had, you know, if it required so much power from the USB port that it like couldn't function, you know? Like they just wouldn't do that. So I don't know. It depends, man. Put on stock instead of the silencer. I probably should, man, in all honesty. I'll swap that out right after this game. I got you guys. Ooh, that was clutch. Damn, that guy wrecked me, bro. If you want coins, come to my stream. Yo, AIDS boy, please do not self-promote, man. Your name speaks for itself. Thank you.
Ruined.
These guys are wrecking me, bro. What is my favorite? My favorite what, man? My favorite weapon in this game? Favorite weapon in this game probably has to be the KN-44, man. You got the clip? Yo, thank you, Bear. I appreciate it. That was an insane, like, feed that I had right there. Like, we were going off. I appreciate it, Bear. Could you post that in, like, the Skype or something like that so I can reference it later? Probably gonna, like, I don't know, upload it to Twitter or something like that. Hey, bro, I'm back. Welcome back, Tuft. Welcome back, man. OMG, it's a crab. Welcome to the stream, dude. Hennis, I choked and nuked out and I was on a 26 bed streak first try on Redwood. Bro, that sucks, dude. That really sucks, man. Like, if you're that close in your first try, though, you're bound to get it soon. That's the thing. You know, my favorite YouTuber? My favorite YouTuber as of right now is probably Philip DeFranco. I love watching his videos. It's just the way he makes you think and all of his topics and stuff. He's just a really well-spoken, a really smart guy. So, I don't know. I really like him. I think he's a really good YouTuber. I'm a major tech geek, so I'll see what I can do if you want me to help. That'd be awesome, Myrtle Entertainment. That'd be great, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah, hit me up on Twitter or whatever. Don't go, like, out of your way to help me out a ton, though. But if, you know, if you come across something, be sure to let me know. Yeah, favorite YouTuber is Zoe Burger. Hands down. Yep. Love Zoe Burger. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to play with this Man of War class one more time with the same group of people. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take out Silencer and put on stock, and we'll see if that improves the gameplay a little bit. We're going to get Nuketown uplink as well. Baby. That's what I like to see. So let's take out that. We're going to put on stock. Alright, let's see how we do. What do we got for score streaks? We don't have the hater yet. How much closer do we have to be to get the hater? We're level 40. What is it, like 48 to get the hater? 49? 48. Alright. So hopefully we'll be able to get it soon. We'll see, though. Okay, you could just call me Myrtle if you want. It's a name I go by all the time. All right, Myrtle. Sounds good, man. Thank you. You won 66 and 39. Wow, that's not very good, man. In all honesty, I don't know if you're like... I won 66 and 37, not 39. I didn't die that much. Hey, I'm back. I was doing something. Welcome back, Pro Gamer. Welcome back, man. No one plays Xbox One. I know some people that play Xbox One, man. It's not as popular in the Call of Duty community as the Man of War, though. You are so bad at COD, dude. I'm horrible. I'm legitimately horrible at this at Call of Duty. This one by far. This one's my worst. I'm so bad at this game. 2.8 KD, dude. 585 score per minute. That's horrible. That's awful. It really is. It's bad. Kills good, but deaths went big. Yeah, deaths went a little bit too high. If we had some higher kills, if we had some better kill streaks, we probably would have done a little bit better. Score streaks. Sorry. What's my roommate's name? His name is Matrix.
Uplink.
Free-for-all is dead on Xbox One at least. I honestly wish Free-for-all wasn't dead, man. I mean, I know I don't play it a lot, but like, it's a fun game mode, you know? It's like such a basic concept. Every man for himself. Free-for-all. You know? How many ports are on your USB hub? Ooh, good question. That's an excellent question. I honestly don't know. Give me a quick second to check, man. I can actually count for you. There are 7 USB ports on my USB hub. Waited a little bit too long to come and kill me, bro. There are 7 USB ports.
Kill.
Ooh, that guy's got a K. I'm gonna pick that up. Oh! Holy God, dude. Yo, teammates, don't push the spawns too hard, bros. You're pushing the spawns too hard, teammates. Is that a sock on your mic? Yes, Bear. You know the answer to that question. Don't even ask it. You just want to talk about it in the chat and then make fun of me. You're posing it as a question when you know the answer. Nah, man. 7 ports, all leading to 1 USB port? Yes. 7 USB ports, all leading to 1 USB port.
Clean kill. Check.
Chill, bro. What's that guy going for me? Is this a Man of War only stream? No, Azex. I'm going to be using another class after this, man.
Nomad kill.
Ooh, nice little quad feed right there. That's what I like to see. Damn.
Battery. Requesting UAV support.
Inbound.
Kill.
Our team has the satellite.
Yo, come at me, bros. Come at me. Aw, come on, dude. How did I not get those hit markers, man? At least a hit marker.
Infantry neutralized. Took down that.
Oh, God. Of course he's chasing after me. You should snipe? Nah, we're not going to snipe. Absolutely not. We're not going to snipe. I learned my lesson yesterday. You guys just want to see me fail. That's all you guys want.
They have the satellite drone.
Tango down.
They have the satellite.
Kill. Edit armored train.
The enemy has the satellite.
UAV ready for deployment.
We have the satellite drone.
Dude, this Man of War is good, man.
Recover that satellite drone.
I really like this setup. This setup is nice. Take off the silencer, bros, and it just feels so much better.
Satellite transfer.
Ambush hunter down.
Lightning strike on standby.
Yo, we got a follower. Who's the follower? OMG, it's a crab. Thank you very much for that follow, man. I appreciate it, brother. Welcome. to the Pro Hennis Army. Thank you for your support today, man. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support, dude. Ooh. Ah, and of course we get killed right there as we call in our raid. Hennis dropped the nuke. I'm sorry, guys. We choked. Okay, we'll do that. That's good. Get another kill, maybe? Nope. This guy's still chilling back here? What the hell is this guy doing, man? Is he AFK? That's too bad.
Satellite reset. Friendly servers inbound.
Oh, of course he chased me right up the stairs, dude. So I'm assuming that all 7 are being used and the cap card is one of them. If that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a USB overload. But like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either too, man. But like the thing is, what happens is if it was a USB overload, wouldn't it like, I don't know, because I've had the situation where I've just had the capture card plugged in and nothing else, and it still has that same glitchy error where like it still has the same glitches and all that stuff, you know? I don't know. Wouldn't a USB overload just crash everything, or or does it make sense that it would kind of makes things lag or make frames skip or give you that sort of pixelation, a little bit of screen tearing every now and then? Does that make sense, or what do you think? What class is this? This is, I actually don't even know who submitted this class. I think this is, I don't even know whose class this is, but it's a pretty good one. I really enjoyed it. I might be able to tell you the name of the person who submitted it. Let's see, his 62nd class setup. Yeah, okay, so this is the one I'm using right here. This was submitted by Pro Gaming Ninja.
Half time.
I submitted the class. Thanks, OMG. It's Crab. I appreciate it, man. Can I get 1,000 subs without vids? Go subscribe if can't do much. Appreciate it. Hey, please don't self-promote, man. Appreciate it. Can you show me the class? I think so, yeah. I think Jorge would make a great mod. I don't think he would. Or actually, maybe he would, Bear. Maybe even replacement of you. How's that sound?
Have the satellite drone.
Mechanical down.
Drop the satellite drone. Friendly counter UAV inbound.
Reaper jumped.
UAV on
Friendly
standby.
lightning strike inbound.
What are the spawns doing right now, boys?
Lightning strike on standby.
Ooh. No, man, that guy just waited for me. Yes, instead of do it. I don't know, man. Bear asked for it.
Satellite.
Mechanical down. Spectre down.
Satellite carrier is down.
Reaper down.
Thought another guy was gonna push right up there, man.
The enemy has the satellite.
TACOM. Inputting strike target.
Let me move.
Spectre KIA.
Got another rate or another UAV. Let's get it, baby. Hennis, it's Gunner Vortex. Yo, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream.
Satellite uplink.
Cyber active.
Satellite drone reset. Friendly has the satellite drone.
Reaper killed.
Oh, no, you landed right on top of me, man. Show me the class. I'll be sure to show you the guys the class setup right after this. Because you're right, this class setup is literally shredding.
TXT in your AO. Satellite reset.
Oh my god, that timing right there. I'm thinking it has something to do with your cap card, but you said it did the same thing with the other cap card you previously used. The only other thing I can think of is that the power your computer uses. That doesn't make sense either because it seems your PC is handling well when you stream. Let me check your specs if they're up to date. The specs I use, man, it's all coming off of the Razer laptop. So it's all coming off of the Blade 14 year. So it's all coming off the Blade 14 year 2015. The 2015 Blade 14-inch. Excuse me.
Friendly counter
I submitted the class. Wonderful, Ace. Like, I should mod you for that.
friendly UAV inbound.
Please use the brecci with any attachments. Oh, God, dude. I hate the brecci with a fiery passion. Literally hate the brecci. It's such a bad class. Probably like 100 classes in there. Yeah, I've actually removed some because we did a lot of some yesterday. Yeah, there are a fair amount of classes. Damn, they all spawn right there. You waste. I don't think I have done your class setup yet, man.
Friendly has the satellite drone. Friendly UAV inbound.
Armor's up.
Satellite uplink.
Too easy, bros.
Satellite drone reset. We have the satellite drone.
UAV awaiting orders.
Took down that fire bridge. Splash. Profit brief.
Lightning strike on standby.
Friendly care package incoming. UAV MTL 50% check.
Oh my god. That was clutch. As I'm calling that in, just turn. Nice EP address? Yo, thanks, bruh.
Solid copy.
Satellite back.
Tested.
I don't know why I popped my kinetic armor there. That was not a good decision.
They have satellite up. Satellite reset.
We could have a much better gameplay right now if we got if we got more streaks. If they were higher streaks.
Friendly has the satellite.
Ah, shoot. I don't know how I still had it alive right there. Nah, man, we could have destroyed those guys. You're destroying right now? We really are. Like, for goodness gracious Christ's sake, we really are.
We have the satellite drone. Hostile wing, your AO. Satellite drone transfer.
Nah, dude, come on. Yo, seems legit. What's up, man? I just tuned in. Yo, Raven Iron, I appreciate you stopping by.
Satellite up. Satellite reset.
Sector smoke.
Satellite.
Nah, dude, I wanted to get in there, spawn right there, and try to get a last couple second kills,
Friendly light.
but not gonna happen. Not gonna happen, bros. GG. Yo, what's going on, Varix FJ? How you doing today, man? Welcome to the stream. You got 66 kills and 16 deaths. Damn, dude, that's really good. I got 86 kills and 19 deaths, man. We just went absolutely off right there.
Smoke check.
We just went absolutely off.
You made the entire CDP.
Yo, snipers, you're on the top 10 there, aren't you? Yes, you are. Damn, you got 1,800 tokens. That's absolutely insane.
Best.
I appreciate all the support in today's stream, though, guys. It really means a lot to me, especially considering it's a Monday, and I know a lot of you guys are usually in school. Maybe you guys are getting home from school right about now, but I appreciate the support. We have 43 likes in the stream right now. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you for those of you who are new subscribers to the stream today. You guys are great. I really do appreciate it. Will I use your class in the future? Gaming Ninja? Probably, man. Yeah, like that's a really solid class, not gonna lie. Actually, hold on. Go ahead and move that right down. Oh no, undo. What did I just do? Can I drag this down? I can't. It's not letting me drag it down, man. What the hell's going on? I don't know. It's not letting me copy it. Copy that. Maybe if I just do that. There we go. Now it works. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and try to grab another class setup here. One that I have not used yet. Get rid of that one. What do you guys think? Maybe a sniper class? Maybe a sniper class? What do you guys think? It's on Nuketown, though. Nuketown uplink. I don't know. If it's Nuketown Safeguard, though, it may actually be a little bit of fun. What do we have unlocked? Oh, no, we don't have the SVG unlocked. Do we have ELO for this thing? We do. I'm going to throw that on. It's been a long time since I've used the Locust here. We got Fast Mag, Extended Mag. I'm just throwing a class setup together for myself because I know you guys want to do see me snipe. Or do want to see me snipe, not want to do see me snipe. That doesn't make any sense. We're going to put on Gung Ho there as well. Alright, let's see how we do. Probably not going to be very good, but we'll see. What do we have for camos? Oh, we got the ice camo. I'm definitely throwing that on. That camo's nice. Alright, sweet. Let's hop into it. Let's see how we do with the sniping class setup. Let's see how we do. Yo, Showtime Brothers, I appreciate that subscription, man. Welcome to the ProHenis Army. I appreciate the support, brother. Thank you very, very much. Yo, Picky, welcome back to the stream. Picky, I got to show you something, man. I got to show you something. So, Picky, right up on screen there, you can see you're currently in the top 3 spot for donations, man. I changed this whole overlay right here, and when I do have those new top donors come in, Patetmos came in the other day, and I showed this to him. Just want to go ahead and put that in there to thank all of you guys for the support. So thank you very much, man. I really do appreciate it. Welcome back, Picky. Welcome back, man. Great to have you in here. I saw that you hosted my stream like as soon as I started, too. You probably have me on auto host, though.
Secure that the robot makes it to the enemy base intact.
Hey, let's do a supply drop opening. I haven't like gotten any supply drops in a long time, man.
Systems are online.
Oh, here we go.
Took down that fight.
They're all dead. Is this safeguard? It is safeguard. Yes. Oh god. Ooh. No, we missed a shot. Nah, and he wrecked us. Come on, man. Mr. Febreze, Hennis, I saw my problem I made for myself in a group, and they put every command in there for me. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. I'm glad I was... Hopefully that helped you out, man. Whatever I said, was that the issue? What I was saying? I'm not even really sure. Do I have a PS3, Joshua? I do not have a PS3, man. I do not. Yo, team, I want to be sniping right now. Oh, God. Choke that shot. That was an easy shot right there. Probably going to come from this right side. That's what I'm guessing. Peek it. Oh, wait a minute. There was just a guy right there. Oh, I hit marked him. Thought I could pick him off.
Robot is closing on target.
What? Oh my god. Oh, we just potatoed. Potato hard with the snipers, boys. Use the elo sight for the snipers. The elo sight is a really nice sight, man. In all honesty, it really is.
Hostile HEXD spotted.
What should I get for Black Ops 3 Modern Warfare Remastered? I could get both and not get Overwatch. What do you think? Honestly, man, I think Black Ops 3 is a really solid Call of Duty. That's all I'm saying. I think Black Ops 3 is a really good COD. I think it's the best one that we've gotten in a while. Baba Ops is asking if anyone wants a copy of BO3 because he doesn't want it anymore. Ooh. Yo, that lag, though. Damn. Damn.
Halftime.
Damn, like I'm pouring, you're balling? I'm not balling. Yo, Piggy, I'm not balling, man. You just got an offer for a university today, though? I think I just scrolled back up and saw your messages.
EKIA. Drop.
Nah, shoot. Couldn't get him. Show me the class for the Man of War. Oh, that's right. I did forget to show that to you guys. I apologize. I apologize for that, guys. Oh. What? What? Nope. Oh, dude, imagine if, like, through the smoke I just got him. I don't know why these guys are throwing so many smokes. This is annoying as hell. I can barely see anything. Like, literally, somebody is just spamming all their smokes. Oh, God. Can you DM me on Twitter? You want me to DM you on Twitter? Oh, Jesus. Like, literally, I just lined up for that guy. Devil Boy Gaming, what's up, man? Try using a silencer on the sniper? I don't know. That seems kind of dangerous. No. No. I'm going to join FaZe, guys. Don't worry. It's going to happen. And we went 11-11.
War goes on.
I'm tied. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to swap back to the, oh, this KN44 class. Hell yeah. We're going to destroy with this thing. I don't know if you guys saw this KN44 class of gameplay yesterday on my channel, but this thing literally destroys. And I want you guys to see.
Extended mission time.
Free-for-all is so much fun. Why didn't I play it before now? I don't know, dude. Free-for-all is really fun, though. I should get back into it, in all honesty, because I think a lot of people would really enjoy watching it as well.
Ensure that the robot makes it to the enemy base.
What is Roblox? Roblox is a game, I'm pretty sure.
Robot status is nominal. Hostile HC.
What is this kid's luck, dude? Oh, he just got so lucky. Ooh, damn. This weapon, like, when you get accurate shots with it, it literally melts, guys. I'm telling you.
Defensive systems online.
Alright, let's pop this thing and go. I bet they just all ran right underneath me. Let's back up.
Flame unit down. Cleaner gone.
No, we don't have scavenger on. I forgot. Give me your weapon. No, you don't have a weapon, bro. Are you joking me?
Battery. Requesting UAV support.
No. Ah, I wanted to punch him, man. Come on. I think it has something to do with your specs. Does your processor come with a turbo boost? 2.6 is not bad, but it's not the best either. I have an i3 with a 3.4 on it. I don't know if it comes with a turbo boost, man. I could look into it. Honestly, you'd probably know more about this stuff than I would. So, it's just the Razer Blade, the Razer Blade 14-inch 2015. Also, you have 8 gigs of RAM, maybe more RAM. Yeah, that's the only thing that sucks because it's a laptop, and Razer has soldered everything right to the chassis, so you can't make any RAM upgrades. That's the only thing that sucks. The only thing you can upgrade inside of it is the hard drive space, the SSD, because the RAM and the GTX 970 and everything is just soldered right to the actual board itself. So you can't actually upgrade any of that stuff. Oh no. Nope. Oh no, dude, what was happening right there? We're just watching for everything. Anyone want a modded account? Nah, bro, please don't advertise modded accounts in here. Let's hop up here. No, dude, we couldn't get a single kill there. But you're right, man. And it comes with 16 gigs of RAM. Yeah, that's the thing. I could try to buy, like, right, I could save up for the next iteration of the game. Or the next iteration of the computer. You're right. But the only thing is that these laptops are expensive. You know, they cost like $2,000. So it's an investment. So I don't plan on getting rid of this thing anytime soon. That's the only thing.
That's how we do it. Get ready for the next round.
Because it is a really, really nice laptop. And I don't have $2,000 or $3,000 to upgrade to the next one. However much the latest iteration of this one costs. Or the next one costs. No, I'm talking about my PC. Oh, okay.
Mission time extended.
Okay, but yeah, like I know you were talking about maybe more RAM, because I do think that maybe more RAM would definitely help. It would definitely help with running games too. The laptop that I use, is it good for streaming? I mean, it manages streaming pretty well, in all honesty. For a laptop, yeah, it's pretty good.
Robot is online.
Clean kill.
For a laptop, it is excellent.
Clean kill.
Damn. Varix, after this game, could you show me your Man of War class, because I want to use it against you? All right, yeah, sure, brother, I got you.
Fire break.
I got you, man. Hopefully I'll try to remember.
Enemy control.
We need extended mags on this thing. If I could throw on something else, I'd probably throw on extended mags. Damn, they're all just rushing for me, dude. Come on. What time is it right now? Did I say 59? Holy crap. It's almost 4 o'clock. I have class in a half hour. Lol.
They're smoked.
Try to knife some people. What do you guys think of these knife kills? Oh, yeah. Let's get it. Sorry, bro. No, I couldn't get out of the way. There's so many people. Beast, what's going on, man? See, if you can turn on turbo boost, if your processor allows it, try again. Your computer might get more power this way, which would in turn potentially fix your cap issue. Just an idea. All right, bro, cool. Do you have any, like, guides you can link me on how to turn on turbo boost? Because I don't even know how to turn it on. And I don't even know if my laptop has that capability. Is there any way for me to tell? It's just the Razer Blade 14-inch 2015 edition. So I'm not sure if it has turbo boost or whatever you're talking about. And I wouldn't even know how to activate it. I would have always thought that was something that's just like automatically activated.
Flame unit down. Took down that fire.
Damn. I gotta get the people coming closer to me first. Yo, what's going on, Icy Assassin? Welcome to the stream today, bro. And what's going on, George? How you doing today, man? What's going on today, guys?
Time's running out.
And you use my class, the one I sent you on Instagram. This isn't the one I was talking about, man. No. Or maybe it was the one I was talking to you about on Instagram. I'm not really sure. Skipping classes for me? Yo, you guys should not be skipping classes for me. My stream is not that important, bros. I have the same laptop as you, Carnage, and I got it with a very cool keyboard. Oh, so you have the new one with like the chroma keyboard? Yeah. The new one with the new chroma keyboard is lit. I know exactly which one you're talking about, man. Damn, they could not do it. That's awesome that you got the same computer as me, man. It's a really nice computer, not gonna lie. It's a really nice computer. How are you today? I'm doing pretty great, man. I'm doing pretty great, to be honest with you. We're gonna do one more game, guys. I'm gonna show you that Man of War class setup, and we'll choose one more class setup to use for this next stream. Question is, what do we want it to be? We haven't used the Weevil in a long time, and I know you guys really do like that weapon. I see a lot of submissions here for the Weevil, so I'm gonna throw on the Weevil here, and we'll see how well we can do with this class setup. This class setup looks like it's, I don't know, looks like it's pretty interesting. We'll see how it fares this stuff. Hennis, you're like a bro to me. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. You guys are like, I don't know, family sounds too cliche. I don't know. It's cool though that you guys are in here every single day and we just kind of hang out. Why do score streak kills only get you 25 points and assists get you 25 points? I don't know, man. I honestly do wish it counted for more though, to be 100% honest. Have I ever watched Futurama? I have not. OMG, Hennis, LMAO, I'm talking about buying a PC and I was wondering if a CyberPower PC with AMD Vegera 16 gigs 2 TB hard drive is good for streaming. I'm not sure, man. I'm not really huge on Intel. I'm not really big on like AMD processors and all that, so I don't really know. Bring the party. Let me just back out so I can configure this class. And I'm going to show you guys. So this is the Man of War class that I was using while I pull up this other class that I'm going to try out here. So this is going to be the Weevil class that we're going to try out. It's going to be the Weevil with Grip, Fast Mag, Rapid Fire, Overclock, Scavenger, Tac Mask, Frag, Concussion, Hardened Sentry, Wraith, Hater with the Scythe. Let's go ahead and throw that on. So this was the Man of War class I was using. Reflex, Quick Draw, Grip, Extended Mag, Stock with Blind Eye and Hardwired as perks. Pretty good class setup if you ask me, man. Alright, so this was going to be the Weevil. Let's see. Grip, Fast Mag, Rapid Fire. Grip. Fast Mag. Rapid Fire. With a Frag and a Concussion, if I'm right. And then Hardened Sentry, Wraith, and Hater. Oh, no, wait. What are the perks? Overclock, Scavenger, and Tac Mask. So, Overclock. Scavenger, we don't have that, so we'll just keep on Fast Hands. And Tac Mask. And then for streaks, we have Hardened Sentry, Wraith, and Hater. We'll just keep on UAV and counter UAV, I guess. Alright, let's go ahead and hop into one more game, guys, and I am gonna have to head out because I do have class right after this. So we're just gonna grind this right here and get this last gameplay. See how we can do with it. Tell your roommate to dab. I don't think he wants to dab. You need RAM to get a nice stream going for what affects the stream. I think you do need. I think RAM does definitely affect what your stream is capable of. Or RAM is needed for a high quality stream. That is for sure. This is the class, right? Yeah, this is the class. Alright, let's get it. Hey, Hennis, say rise up lights. Rise up lights. It's like you're saying razor blades in an Australian accent. Oh yeah, it is actually. I see what you're saying. Rise up lights. Rise up lights. That's true. It is. It's kind of funny. I never even noticed that. Alright, so this thing's got rapid fire on it, so I'm not sure how good it's gonna be. Picky, that looks like a really beast setup, dude. 16 gigs of RAM, gigabit, GTX 1060. Damn, dude, that looks like a beast setup, Picky. Holy crap. I'd be low-key jealous, man. Of course I roll right into that thing. Okay, so 16 gigabytes of RAM is enough for streaming? Yes, absolutely. That'd be plenty for streaming, dude. I would not worry about not being able to stream. If you have 16 gigs of RAM, you should be, like, as far as RAM goes, you should be fine. Where was this guy, man? I didn't even see him. Shot me through nothing. Is a $500 PC good for streaming? It's not really a matter of the price, man. It's just a matter of what specs you have in it.
Shut out.
Damn, these guys are crazy. And just forgot to use the scythe. I just don't have the scythe unlocked, Hamza. I'm sorry, man. I don't have the scythe unlocked, so I couldn't even throw that on if I wanted to. So I just stuck with whatever I had on before, which is just kinetic armor.
Systems online. Ammo down.
Hostile robot is approaching our base.
Damn, dude. We gotta keep them from capping this. Destroy it, teammates. Destroy it, destroy it, destroy it. We can't let these guys push in. You guys gotta work on shooting it back here. Nah, and of course they capped it, man. I'm trying my hardest over here, dude. Damn. Okay, sorry. Didn't know. It's alright, man. It's all good. That kill didn't kill me, man, but it killed the people that were protecting it. What else affects the stream? You definitely need a good CPU. Really good CPU. If you're talking about streaming, I would invest in a really good CPU. I wouldn't focus as much on RAM. 8 gigs of RAM would be fine for streaming. But I would really focus on CPU. I sent you a few links via Whisper. Let me know if they work. All right, thanks, Myrtle. I really do appreciate that, man. Thank you. Oh no.
Kill.
No, 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 no. Oh no, dude, of course that guy had on kinetic. Do you think that will come out with new DLC weapons for BO3 soon? I honestly hope so, man. New DLC weapons in Call of Duty makes life so much cooler, in my opinion. Especially for streaming. Just makes my life better. I have to cancel my driving test? Why do you have to cancel it, Picky?
Tango down.
We could cap this so easily, but I just really don't want to, man. Oh, I'm gonna die. Just wasted my kinetic. And of course, that guy punches me right in midair, dude. Damn. Damn, dude. I would imagine they're pushing right side here. We capped it. Alright, so I guess it's good that we're getting the win here. Bro, I'm late. Sorry, Josh Adam. No worries, man. No worries, brother. We are going to be getting off. This is my last game, unfortunately. I hope you don't feel too bad, man. But, yeah, this unfortunately will be my last game. Because I got to go to class right after this. But honestly, man, don't feel too bad. It's fine.
Mission time extended.
Don't feel too bad, man. You're good, you're good. Probably going to finish the triple play contract tomorrow. Yo. Dude, I should really grind for that, in all honesty. It'd be so nice. Can you do an IW stream where you use your classes? I probably will do something like that, man. Yeah, I'll have to set up another Google form for you guys to submit that stuff. And then once we got that configured, I'll definitely do that for you guys. Because the whole custom class setup thing was a big hit for BO3. So I'd imagine a lot of you guys will really like it for IW as well. Look at your Instagram DMs. All right, man, I'll be sure to. I broke my foot last month, didn't I? Still broken, but I got the feeling they'll put me out in a cast. Damn, dude, that sucks. And you can't drive with a cast on? I would imagine, like, I know it like makes your foot a little bit more bulky, but like I'd imagine people should probably still be able to drive with a cast on. I don't know, I guess it depends on how big the cast is or how, I don't know. It all depends, I guess. These smokes are super annoying, dude. I don't know if this is a teammate throwing these out, he's not doing us any favors. You're out of school for the day? Hey, nice, I see Assassin. I know it's kind of bad timing because I'm ending the stream right around when a lot of people would be getting out of school, but it is what it is. I just wanted to watch this so bad. Sorry, Josh Adam. I'm sorry, man. Sorry, man. I'll be live again tomorrow, though. We'll be playing some Black Ops 3, or excuse me, Infinite Warfare with the new DLC, so. Do one more game? Nah, sorry, Xavier, man. I don't have time. I gotta head to class right after this, brother. I can't bend my ankle. It'll keep it stiff, right? Yeah. Teammates, you gotta try to kill the people on the thing. We don't want them to cap it. Ah, shoot. Couldn't keep my shots right on that guy. Sam Gaming, what's going on, man? Do I remember you from yesterday's stream? I do indeed, my dude. I do indeed. We're ranking up faster, boys. Have I ever gotten a nuclear with an LMG? I have, yes. I've gotten a nuclear with a dingo before. Such a good weapon, man. Such a good gun. Alright, we really gotta try and protect this. We do not want them to cap this anytime soon. I mean, even though I got class soon, I don't want them to cap it, you know what I'm saying?
Kill.
Could have sworn I just heard a guy. No, of course that guy's got heat wave, man. Come on. I wonder how many kills we'll be able to get this game. We may be able to get 100 plus here if we play this right. Nah, shoot. If I killed that guy faster, I could have killed those other guys. I mean, our deaths are going to be pretty high, but the kills might be pretty high as well, which will be nice. We're at 50 kills right now. It's possible. If the next round after this lasts... Actually, no, guys. I'm going to have to leave right after this round. I'm going to have to leave right after this round. I'm not even going to be able to play with my team after this. Not going to be able to. I don't have enough time. I got to get to class. What am I doing in class? I have calc, man. That was a waste of a kinetic armor. RIP. Got him on spawn, dude. Of course, he's camping in the corner. Imagine if I had turned on him there, dude. On the PC, I want to buy. Does it show where the CPU is? I can't find it. Yeah, it may label it as processor or something, but your CPU it's going to be an Intel or an AMD product. More than likely. I don't know what else it could be. Ah, could not keep my shots on, man. Skip the class? No, man. Well, like, I don't have time. Like, even if we were to end the game right now, like, I wouldn't have enough time to start another game. So I don't want to skip the class. Oh, no, you're talking to me. You're talking to me about skipping the class. Oh, I thought you were talking about, like, skipping this class setup. Nah, guys, I'm not going to skip that. I'm not going to skip Cal. That's not happening. Really, what's up, man? Am I playing with subs? I am, dude, but unfortunately, this is my last game on right now. So, right after this, I am getting off. We could have dropped 100 plus, most likely, this game, but it is what it is. What's going on, Gold? How you doing today, man? You're at 653 subs. Hey, man, please do not self-promote my chat. It's an AMD Vishera octa-core processor. That's a lot of cores. That looks like a really good CPU, man. I'm not a huge tech guru, but that looks pretty good to me, man. Now we're just messing with you? Alright, good. Ethan A. Hey, man, I'm not going to be playing with any people right now, man. I'm actually going to finish up this game real quick. We got time to finish up this game, especially since our team's probably going to cap pretty quick. I'm going to make sure we cap pretty quick. Oh, it's my biggest fail caught on camera? I don't know, dude. Maybe dabbing. Don't worry, Hennis school is more important. That's what I'm saying, dude. Alright, hopefully some teammates will stay back and try to escort that. And as we're just slaying people up here, we should end up capping it pretty quick. Yeah, these guys are going to move it up really easily. I've only got one party member here with me, actually, but my teammates are really good, so we shouldn't have any issues. It's too easy out here, bro. It's too easy out here. We're going to cap this, no problems. That was the easiest cap I've ever done in my life, man. Round win, baby. That's a GG. We just rolled right up in there and got all the kills we needed, dude. Damn, how many kills did we finish with? 74 kills. That is still really good. I'm really happy with that. That's more weird than my bag photo. Oh, yeah, true. Your bag photo is probably the weirdest thing that's ever happened on stream. But that didn't happen to me, though. You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen to me. Logan Cundiff, what's up, man? I apologize for all of you guys who are joining up in the stream right now. I do have to head to class, unfortunately, so I won't be able to stream any longer for you guys. But I do appreciate your support. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much for all the love today. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter so you can stay up to date with all of my live streams, all of my videos that I upload, when I go live, what games I'm going to be playing, and all that jazz. As of right now, I got to head to class, though. This has been a lit stream. We were streaming for about 2 hours and 4 minutes, so thank you all so very much for the support. I love all of you guys. We gained quite a few number of subs today, too. I mean, not as many as we did yesterday, but that makes sense. You know, yesterday was a Sunday, and today's a Monday, so more of my viewers are probably going to be in school at around this time, but I appreciate all of you guys coming by. You guys are awesome. Be sure to drop a like on the YouTube stream if you haven't already. Subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. And I will see you guys in the next one. Until next time, everybody, keep gaming, and as always, stay cool. Adios.